Šta ima?
Šta ima? Ništa.
Kako si?
Dobro.
Dobro. Super. That's about it.
It's just so crazy to just hear you talk Bosnian. I originally thought you were Bosnian.
You thought I was Bosnian? I thought you were Mexican.
Oh, really? You thought I was Mexican?
No. Arnel. That's like, I've never heard that name before.
I remember I don't know exactly. I thought your name was Yasansi.
From my J Sensei.
Yeah, I thought that was your name. Yeah, because I was like,
we've known each other since that era.
Yeah, dude. I was calling. I was like, they're like. I was talking to Jonathan. He's like he's the one that does the stickers. You know,
Lopez.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like,
Premium OMP.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I grew up with Jonathan.
Really? That's
Yeah.
crazy. Blows my mind.
Wait,
But,
how do you know Jonathan?
we've done a few videos together. There's some
really?
videos with him and like doing some stuff with his stickers and
He was. I don't know if he still is, but he was really into making videos back in the day. Right when I was starting.
That's why I hit him up. I was like, "Hey man, you do videos," and then he was like, Jason, and I was like, "Oh, Yasansi or something." Or maybe I said, "Oh, do you know Yasansi?" And then he was like, Jason? Yeah, he was. I think that's how it probably went. It was like, I was like, oh shit, that's not his like real name. It's but why did you choose that name?
It was weird, dude. So I was in Japan for a little bit while I was in the Marine Corps, you know?
Yeah.
And the word sensei and then Jason, I merged them, so it was J Sensei.
Yeah, that's what I was calling you, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, and he's like, Jason? And then I was like, yeah. I was like, okay, there we go. That's his real
Do you
name.
still see Jonathan around?
I've seen he's got his shop. You know, his shop on. It used to be. He basically took over where AWOL used to be at itself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So AWOL.
The end of downtown. Right?
No. Not
by the old hospital.
The old hospital itself. So he took over.
Really?
He took over that building itself, and it says his business name there. He's still out there. He does like. If anybody like needs like some decals, he's got like a vinyl cutter, and then he'll do decals for businesses and so forth. And he's the most affordable, much better than Lidl Signs, because Lidl Signs is the king here, basically.
Oh, really?
So he comes in, and then he's basically got a little bit of prices, and you're like, well, it's the same stuff. And then just makes more sense. You know what I mean? He's good. He does good stuff. So he's a really cool guy. He's got T-shirts. He's got vinyl. Yeah, but I can't remember exactly how I got in touch with him or so forth. That was so long ago. It's
I grew up with him. We were both in the Spanish branch of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Oh, really?
Yep. So his mom, Lilia, and my mom, Yvette, became like best friends, which inherently meant our families became best friends.
Yeah, that's how it works. Even with Bosnians, that's like like if the friends are kind of together, then the families are together, or the families, you know, it's kind of works like that.
Dude, Bosnians just every damn Bosnian knows each other. It seems like. Isn't the way you guys talk to each other is when you like talk to a child, it's like who are yours or whose are you?
Yeah, they come in and they're like, whose are you? Like you're some kind of property or something like that. Whose are you? And it's like, what? Or they say it cheesty. You know, that's the wording. Like cheesty means basically like whose are you?
Cheesty.
You know, cheesty, you know. And then you're like, well, you know, I came, you know, then you have to basically say what family you are. It's almost kind of like you know, like the noble families, you know, which family
like
did you come?
Daenerys Stormborn, Breaker of Chains, like your big long name before. The son of this man.
Yeah, I come from the Culum family, you know.
Oh, is that how you say Arnel Culum?
Yeah, so everybody gets it confused because in Bosnia, see, it's like a C with a V on top of it. So when we came here, they were like, well, this V on top of the C does not exist in the English language, so we're just going to put a C on there itself. So they changed my last name to a C, versus in Bosnia, there's like two different C's.
Accents.
It's like ch and a ch. So
hard and soft?
Yeah, hard and soft. And a soft is basically like a little one dash kind of pointing one way, and then a hard one is with a V on top of it. And when we came here, they were like, we don't have that. So it's just a C.
So kako, this is going to be so butchered. Kako ti bosanski.
Kako ti Bosanci?
How is your Bosnian? Is that how did I say it?
Yeah, I was like,
You're like, what is this guy trying to say?
The thing is, like with Bosnians, you almost kind of have to, like, with parents, you're talking Bosnian itself, but with everybody else, you're talking English itself. So I remember last time I went to Bosnia itself, I had to kind of like do a little switch in my brain because everybody just talks Bosnian over there itself, and then I speak kind of like it's really I speak it. But it's kind of like it's like a slow computer, basically.
Really?
Where like I'm still able to speak it, but it's like I have to say things like not as fast. And then if you ever watch the Bosnian news, they're like going 1,000 miles per hour, like. It's like, how can anybody even understand this?
Yeah, how is it for you? How would you rate your own Bosnian?
Bosnian talking right now, I would say I'm like a 6. Or
really?
7 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny for Bosnian Americans, like especially, I don't know, how old were you when you came here?
I came here in 1996 or 1997. So they basically put me in like 4th grade, dude. And I didn't know anything. Like I didn't know how to speak English. I mean, in Bosnia, we were taught like some basic, English words, but it was just like, very few. And then when we came here, it was kind of like, there was a whole crazy story on this. We flew into the airport, and then I was thinking it's going to be like this giant like city or something like New York or something like that. But, we're here in Twin Falls. We arrived at 10, 11 at night. We're driving to this place. I'm like, where's the city at?
And you're like a 6-year-old? 7-year-old?
No, I'm like 9, 10.
Oh, dude. So you got good memory of this.
Yeah, I got a really good memory. I remember the drive from the airport itself. I remember even like how it was being first, because we were in a refugee camp for about like 3 or 4 years.
Where?
In Bosnia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I lived in a refugee camp.
They had refugee camps within Bosnia that were like holding areas until you can get, I know Irvina's story.
Yeah, well, I don't know her story.
Well, they went to Germany, and then I think they went, I don't know their story that well. And they went to Germany, I know, for a while, and then maybe the UK and then here. But it seems like there's like a transit journey that you have to kind of go on to.
Yeah.
So how was your transit?
My transit was, we were being in this place called Gašince. And I have like these photos of it. Imagine like this room right here, like this. And then basically it's like a family of 4, me, my sister, my dad, and geez, I can't even think about it. 4 of us, and then we had 2 other people living there with us. Whoa. And then another guy itself. So that many people all living in like a space this big. Wow. And we lived like that for like, 3 years itself. We even had like a school there, basically. Like there was no bathroom. You have to kind of go way the heck over there to that house, to have like go to the bathroom like in the middle of the night and stuff like that. So we lived in a refugee camp, like I said, for a while. And then we were really wanting to go to like Denmark. That's where kind of most of our family was like being relocated, but they weren't accepting anybody. So we kind of stuck around as much as we could to try to, get in there, but we just couldn't get into Denmark itself. And then we essentially just kind of, an opportunity came to kind of come to the U.S. And, this is they have like a refugee thing here, basically. And you don't get to pick where you go to. You know what I mean? They just basically say, we're accepting some refugees and you just get in here. Ultimately, you have to basically, I think my parents said they came in here with like maybe like $300 into the US. So they came with like literally nothing, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, and then usually what ends up happening is like, then you got to get a job immediately. Then it's like a lot of people think like these Bosnians, they're like, we're buying stuff and they're like nice cars and so forth, but it's like, you got to get a job for that itself. So a lot of people think, there's like this thing where like money's being handed out to us or something, but it's nothing like that at all. It's basically, we get here, and then you go through like a temp agency. The temp agency then puts you into a job, and then you're immediately into the workforce itself. And then you have to even pay everything that the state or whatever they kind of cover to earn your ticket back, basically, which is crazy. It's like, sure, but
I figured that all the Bosnians, I have this theory that Bosnians would come here to Idaho because y'all love potatoes damn much.
No.
Bosnians do love potatoes, right? It seems like
they do love potatoes.
Every damn thing is like potatoes and bread.
But there's this other city. Where's this other city where there's a lot of Bosnians? I forgot there's like this really big city. I forgot the name of it. I was just doing some research on this, and then it just
like where? What country?
In the U.S., they have like 50,000.
The West Coast?
No, it's what is it?
It's on the East Coast.
It's in somewhere like
middle.
It's in the middle.
That's the only other option.
It's in the middle.
West, East, middle. I got it.
It's in the middle. There's like 30,000.
Really? Holy damn!
In one city. They called it Little Bosnia.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, imagine like, dude, that's like the population of Twin Falls is like.
All Bosnians, just 30,000. They probably have restaurants and stuff, like Bosnian restaurants
everywhere.
And everything.
Yeah. There is even an actually Bosnian restaurant here. Have you ever been to it?
Oh, Emma's Cafe?
Yeah, like
Emma's
the Cevapi.
Cafe, yeah.
Have you ever eaten the Cevapi? It's oh my God.
What is that?
Dude, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I can't believe you haven't went there to have some cevapi, dude. You gotta go have some cevapi.
What is
over
cevapi?
there. It's like these like sausage links. I mean, dude, I can't describe it. Maybe flash up an image or something.
Here's a cevapi.
Here's a cevapi. Yeah, it's
you can't describe it. It's like bread.
It's like bread.
What's
and
the
like,
closest like English dish, American dish that you could describe me? This.
I mean, it's very unique. It's kind of like meat sausages. Like,
so it's like just pure meat?
Just meat sausages.
It's a type of meat.
Deal.
It's like chorizo.
Yeah, they're like this big, you know what I mean? And then you kind of dip them in like this ivar.
Ivar, yeah.
You know
I
ivar?
got a jar of ivar.
You got a jar. There you go.
I gotta have spiciness on my Bosnian dishes.
You eat cevapi with ivar, you know,
and a little shot of rakia on the side.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I'm pretty sure that place might have it as well too. I don't know.
Yeah, we got rakia on the fridge over there.
Yeah, that rakia will just mess you up.
We might should take a shot of rakia on this.
Crazy, man.
Rakia is rough, right, dude? That's straight up Bosnian moonshine.
That's like drinking alcohol. I mean, like straight gasoline, dude.
It's almost like, but it tastes like shit too.
Yeah, it's not really like good, but it'll just mess you up. It's literally, I'm pretty sure you could run a car.
Yeah, you can light that on fire for sure. It's high alcohol content.
It's really just a few of those will just mess you up. Like,
what the hell Bosnians got that such a strong drink for?
They love the rakia itself. I'm not a super rakia. I'm more like a beer guy. You know what I mean? But man, Bosnians,
yeah, you were all acting like you wanted to get all drunk on this podcast. You're like, dude, let's get drunk. It's the middle of the day. I'm like, well, I'm down. But you're like, well, I got to drive home.
That's true. You got to drive home. Can't get too drunk.
But we do have TFT, ride TFT now.
Oh, yeah.
So you could just...
Yeah, you can just drive back. Hey, just take me back home here.
Have you downloaded the app for Ride TFT?
I haven't done that itself.
It's like Uber, dude. Uber for a public transportation van, and it's like $2 to go all the way across town.
I don't know anybody that like needs to have somebody driven for them itself. Everybody in Twin Falls has a car. You know what I mean? This whole city, I feel like, is just kind of like everybody's got a car, you know?
I got a friend who doesn't have a car.
Doesn't have a car?
It's a rough life.
It's a rough life with no car. Well, dude, if you don't have a car, forget the car. Get yourself a scooter, and like an e-scooter itself. Dude, you can get around the whole city with just an e-scooter itself, like one of those like little lime ones.
You've been on the scooter bandwagon for a long time. You've been scooting around for years.
Yeah, dude. For like 3 years, I've had this scooter, and it's like the best way to exercise my dog, right? It's like, because you could walk, you could run. I just take the easy way out. I'm just gonna tie this leash around my dog, and I just push a button, and then dude, we do like 15 miles.
Yeah,
and
well, you got a husky.
Yeah, if you
Huskies feel like they gotta go.
Yeah, they gotta go. So it's kind of like they just go, and I just push a button, and then I charge it up itself. But yeah, I mean, as far as like the transportation itself, they were like looking into buses, but they're like, we don't know if we want to do buses. I think they're using the data because they have like data on the
how often it's being used,
where the people are actually going.
Oh, so to draw the routes.
They're because like the metadata is basically kind of figuring out where is everybody going. I'm pretty sure people are going to like Walmart, the hospital.
I'm gonna guess the top 3 spots: Walmart, downtown.
I don't know. Do you think so?
I don't know. I mean,
I would say Walmart might be number 1.
Okay, we both agree on Walmart. I'm throwing in downtown, but you don't agree.
No. Hospital. People gotta go.
Hospital is like Walmart.
Well, I mean, that's a whole different thing. Costco, people love.
Imagine, dude, you're like, oh, I need to go to the hospital. Open up TFT. Right? Just they'll be here in 15 minutes. Yeah, it's gonna cost us $3.
Yes.
Well, that's better than taking a $15,000 ambulance, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't want to pay all that money, dude. That's like part of growing up. I feel like in America is the first time when you realize how much money you're going to get charged in the medical system.
Oh, yeah.
When you go, what? You get that paper and go, what? Yeah, this thing costs $2,000 just to do a little MRI or something?
My appendix burst, dude. Has your appendix ever burst?
What's that like?
Oh, let me tell you.
Isn't the appendix like a worthless thing?
It's a worthless, stupid organ in your like stomach itself. I'm like doing these KVT like little tech tips,
Okay.
We go in like 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock, the early morning, and then we do like these tech tips. I get on the show and I do my little like tech tip thingy, and then like I'm feeling like sick. I'm like, what's going on? This is weird. I'm like, I gotta go home. I tell my boss, I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm just gonna call in sick. I go home and I'm just like puking and puking and puking. At one point, I'm start puking, like green stuff starts coming out of me, and it's called bile. And I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, like, fucking Wendy's, because I had like
oh my God.
I thought it was Wendy's, anyways, then so I'm like in the bathroom, and then I'm like on the toilet, and dude, let me tell you, you'll know when your appendix bursts, because here's what it feels like. Okay. Imagine I take 1,000 swords and I just stab you all at once.
1,000 swords.
1,000 swords. Just I don't know. That's what I
feel like one sword is still like just bad.
1,000. I don't know how you're gonna get 1,000 swords at you, but that's how it felt.
Damn,
like
that sounds horrible.
And then I was like, as soon as that happened, I was like, I gotta go to the hospital. Were
you on the ground?
Yeah, I was like in pain. I was like, that was like the biggest pain I've ever felt, because imagine 1,000 swords.
Yeah.
So then I went to the hospital, and here you gotta love the hospital. Have you ever seen those like things where they're like, hold on, sir, there's other people, waiting. I just got stabbed with the fucking 1,000 swords. That's what happened to me, dude. They're like, get in line. I'm like over there. I'm just like rolling around, I'm like dying.
You gotta go sit down with somebody whose like leg is gone.
Well, there was nobody there.
There was nobody.
Like they were like people. They were just like perfectly fine.
They're
they're just coughing a little bit. I'm like dying, dude. I'm like in their bathroom, like I'm dying. I'm like throwing like water at myself. They finally get me in. And then they're like, "Yep, this guy might die if we don't operate on him, basically." Because that's what happens. Is if your appendix bursts, it starts leaking stuff in you, basically.
Bleeding of sorts, or not even blood. It's like a bile leak.
It's like a bile leak. It's like putting bad stuff in your system itself. So they got to go in and they got to like cut it off or so forth. And then
do they just clamp it, so it's never?
I think they clamp it, and then they just cut it off, basically, and it's gone essentially. So it's no longer there, basically. So then they put me under like anesthesia, and then I was in and out, and I woke up, and then they were done, basically.
Like, why didn't you tell us your appendix burst earlier?
Yeah,
we thought we put you behind the COVID guy.
Yeah, they're like, get in line. It was nuts.
When was this?
This was like I would say like maybe like 5 years ago. This was prior COVID stuff. So it was There was no urgency, you know what I mean? Which was like mind-boggling to me itself. But I do remember that. That was nuts. And dude, I was like super buff, you know? But anytime you go to like a hospital, dude, like since, you know,
you were super buff?
Oh, dude, I should show you some of these photos. You should see like, dude, I used to go to the gym like every day. Like I have like these like, I look like a bodybuilder, dude. You gotta see these.
You were lifting a lot or what?
Dude, I was lifting every day. Me and Miro would just go and like hit the gym every day for like an hour or two or something like that. And,
what gym were you going to?
CSI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we just go over there.
Do you go to the gym anymore?
No, I don't. Dude, this is what I kind of came to a realization. It's like, well, first he was like trying to convince me to go to like jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. You know, like, dude, you gotta like, you know, you got to do that. And
He's trying to turn you into a weapon.
Yeah, like trying to do it like you're a weapon now. But it was really more like I came to a realization that, you know, like I was just building a show car. When you go to the gym, you're just building a show car, you know, like you just for the looks.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because it could be like an actual like strong car.
Well, yeah, well, you would think. It
doesn't have to just be for show. Like you could actually do like 1,000 pull-ups or something.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily do like 100 pull-ups in a row or so forth. I could do like so many pull-ups and so forth. And I was pretty strong that way. But with jiu-jitsu, dude, I felt like...
Oh, you did do jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I did do jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I did do jiu-jitsu. So I felt like I was paying people to beat me up.
Oh my God.
And I was like, this is bullshit, you know? Yeah. Like, so then I eventually just like, I'm not doing jiu-jitsu anymore. I'm just going to keep going to the gym. But what ended up happening was once I had like the surgery and so forth, dude, like your body goes into like, they don't want you to do anything for like a month or two. And imagine like you just, all of that work just like starts depleting because you're just become like...
shriveling up.
Yeah, your body's like utilizing,
it like eats that muscle.
Eats it all up. So I just basically got, so I could probably get back in the gym and I'll get back to like where I was at in like, I don't know, like 6 months if I really wanted to. But it's like, you know.
You don't want to.
I don't want to. I'm such a lazy person. You know?
What is your days like now, dude? What you up to? You're posting some phenomenal reels. You've been growing like crazy.
Yeah, I've just been like, I've been making videos. I've shifted my direction to I'm just a storyteller. I'm going to tell you a story about this. I'm going to tell you a story about this.
Quick storytelling.
Quick story. 1 minute and 30-second stories itself. And it's really tough to even try to... Sometimes these stories are a little bit long and you're trying to condense...
It's hard to build depth into a short time.
Yeah, 1 minute and 30 seconds. You can't do it itself. I wish freaking Instagram and all these other ones just made that so it's like unlimited.
But people don't want to watch that on those platforms. On those platforms.
They might because like it... I've seen that they do that on TikTok. Like TikTok, I think you can do like 10, 20, 30-minute videos, but you have to kind of get to a certain level before they kind of let you do that.
It's like YouTube when you do the hour-long ones. Like you have to earn your spot. You probably earned your spot long. How long you been making videos, dude?
Oh, man, I've been... this all kind of started from watching Casey Neistat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Casey Neistat?
I had a Casey Neistat era, probably similar time as you, because I would be very inspired by him when I first started getting into videos, and I would do the time lapses everywhere. That's like his time lapses, telling the story with his vlog style stuff. Yeah. That was like my... You know, that's kind of like your first documentaries, like your little vlogs.
Yeah, vlogging, you know.
Yeah, you used to vlog so much. You were like... I feel like you were doing like the Neistat shit like every day. You were trying to post. I try to do
daily Neistat videos itself, time lapses, going to places. But I realized that like he is a whole different person because he also tries to tell a story. It's so hard to try to tell a story during your day itself because you don't know what the story is. Sometimes I would just record like 3 or 4 hours worth of shit. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, what the heck is the story? And then I would have so much footage to try to figure out what the story itself is. So it's like, I don't know how he does it, but it's pretty impressive. I was watching some behind the scenes. He has like a notepad. I don't know if you ever saw this. He carries a notepad. He writes down the last thing he said. So that way when he goes to a different spot, he picks it up because he wrote it in his notepad. I was like, genius.
Yeah.
So he knows what the story is throughout the whole entire day. He's kind of like figured out the story or the narrative, and he's just basically going from place to place to place.
Well, that's more so because I don't know if that's the story thing, but that seems more like a seamless transition.
Yeah,
thing.
He's truly a master of storytelling itself. More people should inspire to be like a storyteller. And I even right now with how many videos I've done, dude, I've done probably over like 2,000 videos. Can you believe that? Like imagine how long it would take you.
You've been doing it for a long time. I feel like you've been doing videos before I even thought about ever. Like since what year?
I don't know. Like I think you could probably look at vlog 1. I put the date. I put the little date on there.
Do you have an idea? I got out of the Marine Corps 2016, and I started making videos like as a profession aim at like 2017.
Well, the whole thing with the vlog, it was kind of like I was watching Casey Neistat, and then my sister was kind of like, like you're just watching this guy, and she's like, you should like maybe just do whatever he's doing, and because then if you kind of like. If you watch what other people are doing or just imitate, like let's say you find somebody that you kind of like what they're doing or so forth. Here's the secret, dude. Just do whatever they're doing and that's it. I mean, there is no secret. You just do whatever they're doing and then you basically become like them itself. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of like her kind of thing was like, if you want to be like this guy, like telling stories, going to places and this and that, you just gotta do it. So that's why I started that. I think it was about like 3 or 4 years ago, probably around 4. I had just came off of a job where I was working for Seastrom. I was their web developer. I did some like vinyl graphics stuff. It's kind of basic like a graphic designer. For the longest time, I've been into IT support. So I used to work for Dell, HP, Microsoft.
Here's the big tech nerd, huh?
Yeah, just the tech nerd. I know, like, dude, I've been hacking away, like, dude, I know how to hack.
It's a powerful thing to be knowing.
Dude, I was hacking when I was in 5th grade. Like that early.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Damn.
I could barely speak English.
You little crazy bastard, dude. So you got to this country and instantly learned how to hack.
Yeah. Dude, like they used to make us like do this, like take tests for like books you would read.
Yeah. AR?
Yeah. Dude, I just hacked the system.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I hacked the system. Dude, I got into administrator access into it.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
How did you? Weren't you in ESL at the time?
Dude, I was hacking in 5th grade. Dude.
So you spoke code more than you spoke English.
Yeah, it's kind of like I've always like understood how computers work. Like it made sense to me. It's like why this is here, so forth. Dude, like
are you AI?
Maybe I am. Dude, like computers, it's kind of like they just made sense to me itself. Like I could probably jump into a program. Like I've never even played around or so forth, and I could figure out how to use the program without ever being taught the program itself. Even
is it like a base level language kind of? Because I know HTML and I know CSS, kind of. I haven't used it in forever. What coding languages do you know?
Well, I know a lot. These days, you don't even have to know anything because AI will just do everything for you. Dude, let me tell you this. This is just blows your mind now. You can take a screenshot of your calculator, right? Mm-hmm. Take a screenshot of your calculator. You go into ChatGPT and you say, write me HTML code, CSS code, and JavaScript code for this calculator. And then it'll just do it all for you. And it'll like,
like replicate that image and make a working calculator?
Yeah, it'll make a working calculator with you not knowing absolutely nothing. You could literally draw something and you can kind of say like, write me the code for this. Dude, AI stuff is going so fast. I get like my feed is constantly getting me updates on like AI new technology
features.
And then I take a screenshot on it and I go like try it out. I'm like, this is good. I've been really leaning into the whole AI stuff itself. It's going to replace everybody's like job slowly. And it won't be like
maybe slowly. And then one day everything changes.
Yeah.
The singularity occurs and AI becomes sentient.
Well, that could possibly even happen within this year, dude. Like, but by the end of 2024, there could be.
But why would a sentient digital, artificial general intelligence being be in a rush to get things done quick if they have an immortal life.
It's kind of like
they could just wait hundreds of years.
It's kind of like, have you ever watched the movie Matrix?
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's like the best movie ever. You know how like the machines, the AI, the Mr. Smith, he basically says like, the human race is a disease. So that's what AI might think. It's like eliminate the disease, and so that way they can just put like their AI to go ahead and rule the world or so forth itself. So there is a rush for it. You know what I mean? Because if the humans figure out that it's in control or so forth, then it's you see.
Yeah, I could see, but also I wonder if I'm just kind of. Yeah, Matrix makes a good point. Maybe the singularity would be a very quick event. But what if it's like, humans are a disease, but we don't want to cause panic and make them shoot nukes or anything like that.
Yeah, they destroy the whole... Because if the humans destroy the infrastructure itself, then the AI has a very hard time living,
Have you seen the documentary AlphaGo?
No.
AlphaGo, do you know what Go is? Gomoku? It's like Go is a Chinese checkers kind of thing where it's considered... It has exponential variables of what can happen more so than chess. Chess, there's a bunch of variables.
Yeah.
But because of the structure of the way the pieces move, there's limited amount of potential outcomes. Go, they think exponentially goes out to almost infinite outcomes. So every Go match is a piece of art, pretty much. Is how they look at it.
It's different, huh?
It's very hard, and they consider it a very human game because they believe it takes a piece of humanity to be good at Go.
Oh, I've never tried that.
They created some AI researchers created AlphaGo, which is the AI software to take on the most world's best players in Go.
Yeah.
And there's a documentary about the
journey. And who won?
So AlphaGo smoked the world's best player, but the shocking thing was they would play it and it would look like AlphaGo sucked. Like, what are they doing these erratic playing moves for?
Yeah, that's weird.
And at the end, it would win by 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was like, damn, dude, it knows it doesn't need to do some flashy win. Just needs to win by 1.
Man, yeah, it's AI is always better. Like I said, it helps me too because it basically makes me kind of like a better, like a writer, better storyteller. I mean, that's right now what it is. You know what I mean? It's like, it gives... Dude, like you could be a homeless person right now. And if you have access to ChatGPT, you could be pretty like, you're like, wow, this guy like knows and so forth. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like it helps bring your ideas into reality because you can refine it into some sort, like you can bypass the work part where it's like, can I write this for me? I don't want to write, so I'll have it just summarize and write for me.
Yeah.
But in the end, whether you're a homeless person or not, everything has to be, you have to take that first step forward to make something.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether with AI or not, you got to be the one to initiate.
It still depends on you itself.
Which is like how everything has always been.
Yeah. So it's not
that different after all.
Yeah, it's got to take initiative. I mean, the also nice thing about it is like, it'll tell you how, like, tell me step by step on how to go ahead and achieve this particular goal. So that way, if you have like an idea for a goal or so forth, you can have it break down like little bite-sized pieces. So that way you just achieve each goal to go ahead and get to the final goal itself. So it's taught me so much things that I never even knew. Anything that I've ever had a question on, it kind of tells me like, well, this is where you need to look at. I even have it like summarize PDFs and things like that, or like long stuff and so forth.
I use it for summarizations a lot as well. But I don't. It's a useful tool, but I don't see it yet, and it's not general intelligence yet, so I don't see it being that valuable.
How do you know? How do you know that? How do you know that? Like you're like, this
are you lying to me?
Yeah, like,
are you real?
How do you know this? That like, and they could also be like hiding the good stuff behind doors itself. If there is an AI that's like thinks by itself and it's much smarter, they're gonna contain it. They're going to contain it into like a room where it cannot escape, get on the internet and self-replicate and so forth.
Well, the reason I think I know that it's not general yet, I mean, we can't, but the reason I believe it's not is because it's as if it still requires that human initiation, the human action to make things happen. Because I relate it because AI is like a tool, the same way a calculator is like a tool, or cameras. the film industry, since I'm in the film industry, I'll talk about that.
Yeah.
The film industry used to be very exclusive. Only really rich people in Hollywood can make movies.
Yeah.
Up until like the 90s when people started getting cameras and everyone had a camera all of a sudden. And everyone's like, you can just make a movie from home. And then nice stats are born.
Yeah.
And now everybody has a camera. So we all have access to the tool that could make a movie, but it still requires that initiation of human action to be inspired, set into motion, and use that tool to create something. And that's the same way as AI is right now.
And here's the crazy part. Elon Musk is afraid that what you're saying, right, that the AI is going to become like to a point where it wants to take that initiative. It has motive to go ahead and do something or so forth. So that's where AI kind of gets scary, is because if it turns into kind of like, well, like you don't need the human aspect of like, oh, I want to do this or so forth. What if AI one day starts like, I have some ideas of myself and I'm going to go ahead and start doing stuff. And it can already control a computer itself, like mouse movements and things like that.
But can it make its own decisions? That's where we're not at general intelligence yet. But the thing that I feel like is actually on the horizon of fear from Michio Kaku talks about, I don't know if you know what the theoretical physicist Michio Kaku is.
I've never heard of him.
Scientist guy. He has this book, Quantum Supremacy, and it's about quantum computers. Do you know about quantum computers?
Yeah, it's they're freaking giant. Then I don't know exactly how they work, but
they use atoms.
Yeah,
instead of binary code, they use the atoms as their code to bounce off each other and fly. I don't even know how do you use atoms.
Yeah, no, it's like, all I would see is like they had to be super cooled or something like that. And there's like this whole thing that's like, if you observe it, then they do one way. If you don't observe it, then they don't do anything. So it's kind of like saying like, this is a way to like, that shows you we're in like we live in like multi-universes.
In a simulation of sorts.
Yeah.
Because it's like the code is rendering in.
Yeah, it was kind of like trying to say like, see, if we observe it, then it does one thing. If we don't observe it, then it doesn't do anything.
Right, so I think you're referring to the dual slit particle wave
duality
of photons.
I've seen a little bit about that, but I was like, what does that exactly mean?
So I dove deep into this because I always thought, after looking at the dual slit theory, which it's so if you don't know, it's where they do two slits into like a wall and blast light through it. Yeah. And then they read on some photo paper, light sensitive paper on the other side to see how the light reacted after it went through the slits. And when there's no observer, the lights act as a wave. They can tell because it ripples out of the slits, like dropping a rock into a pond and it shoots out into waves. And when there is an observer, it acts as a particle and you see a mirror of two slits on the light sensitive paper. And so people would come up with theories that...
But what does that mean?
Life is like Minecraft, and maybe when you're not looking, it's just code out there. But as you start going towards the horizon, it starts rendering in as particles, and the world renders in as observers are experiencing it. So I started diving deeper because I was like, that seems like revolutionary science to like what existence is. And I found some research that talked on the potential that maybe what's an observer? That's what my big question. What counts as an observer? If a dead person's in the room, does it count as an observer? If there's a cat in the room, if there's a camera looking at it, does it count as an observer?
Yeah.
What's an observer? And what the research kind of boiled down to was the observation was their cameras. When they would watch it with a camera and try to record it, it would act as a particle. The photons would act as a particle. And there was another theory off that research that said maybe another option could be that the light is so sensitive that the electrons from the camera's batteries or anything like that could disrupt the way light reacts when conducting that experiment. It's interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, you really just don't know. There's some of those, like, you ever watch that Neil
deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah, he's got some crazy things. I'll get sometimes on his feed or so forth, and he just throws out some like fascinating things. It's like, wow.
He's fun, but he's kind of annoying too.
He's kind
of annoying, dude. I'm like, he's like, aliens aren't real.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Come on, Neil.
Yeah.
Did you see Ryan Graves, the Navy pilot who's talking in Congress today about the UFOs and the biological beings that the U.S. government has harnessed?
There's got to be aliens, man. Like there's got to be aliens. Just like I try to like tell people like how big we are in just like somebody trying to like. I remember the first time somebody told me like this, which was like, imagine all of the sand in the whole entire Earth, right? Mm-hmm. That's a lot of sand, right? All the beaches and so forth, right? You pick up one freaking sand particle, and that's Earth. You know what I mean? You're telling me there's nothing else going on these damn like sand particles?
Well, one way I heard it was the amount of observed space we've actually researched is the equivalent of grabbing a cup, scooping out ocean water and looking at it and going, there's no life.
Yeah,
there's no life in this ocean.
I've heard that saying too. It's like one cup and you're like, nah, nothing there. So what about the freaking fish over here?
And there's like 100 billion Goldilocks planets. So they're in the Goldilocks zone, which is where Earth is. It's the relative distance to the sun where life can be created because the temperature is perfect. Mm-hmm. The Goldilocks zone. And there's supposedly 100 billion Goldilocks zone planets in our solar system. Or not solar system. Galaxy. Yeah. Solar system, there's just a shit ton of planets all over. What the fuck is that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just we're too stupid to realize, and we can't get to them too. You know what I mean? Like, because like you got the limitation of like the light. And then the only way we can, if we figure out somehow wormholes or something like that.
Albuquerque Drive. Have you ever heard of Miguel Albuquerque?
No.
He's a Mexican physicist who created a theory based off of Albert Einstein's work with relativity that works in conjunction with it well. So it's pretty much the anti-gravity UFO tech. It's a whole thesis he has about it. How fast are you going?
Like,
so at Bend Space, he theorized that you could theoretically, with the math, they math it out. Theoretically, it's possible to use dark matter to run an Albuquerque Drive to bend space and travel faster than the speed of light.
Well, these are all theories.
But the way the mathematician, theoretical physicists do their theories is instead of just like, it's not like just they popped up with an idea. It's the same way Albert Einstein created the theory of relativity, E equals mc squared, based off of Newton's laws of physics that he's established. People come up with the idea, run the numbers by it, and if it works with the math, they go, this is the best theory we have so far.
That makes sense.
And the Albuquerque Drive is one of those things where it's like theoretically, mathematically, it maths out, but the problem is how does one even harness dark matter? What the fuck is dark matter?
Exactly.
Dark matter makes up most of the matter in our universe, though. That's all black space out there. It's not nothing. It's negative matter.
Negative, yeah. Have you seen all the stuff that Elon Musk is doing with the space rockets and the spaceship that he's building itself? There's a lot of people that just like hate him for doing that. There's like a lot of naysayers. They're like, this is never going to freaking work, blah, blah, blah.
Well, people like to just be critics and not creators.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's like who else is doing anything else? You know what I mean? It's not like we've got somebody else working on a better plan. You know what I mean?
I'm sure even you, having been creating for so long, people just like, if you're creating, you're putting yourself up to criticism.
Yeah. And there's a lot of criticism.
Yeah, people like to judge, dude. People want to judge because they're not doing anything. Like, it's easy to be a critic. It's hard to be a creator.
Yeah.
And it's just so, like, like you said, when people look at Elon Musk, it's like, dude's putting rockets and putting people on Mars. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, this is bullshit.
You should have done it better.
It's like... Yeah, it's crazy, but I kind of like people like Elon Musk because he's like gets an idea and he's basically executing on the ideas. He's not just sitting on the sidelines doing anything itself. I feel like if humanity itself just kind of shifted to like, we need more people like him and try to like the educational system to pump out people like him itself.
Yeah, then geniuses who have action.
Yeah, it would be freaking amazing. Yeah. I saw this thing where they were like saying like this was Andrew Schultz. He was saying like in China, what they're doing is they're showing educational content to their population itself
on
TikTok and educating them and so forth. Right? They're like, you get rewarded for science, and you're like, well, that's good. I mean, like, so basically you're telling me that like for science and like cool tech stuff that people invent, the algorithm awards you for that. But guess what they do here in the US?
You get like dumb shit.
You get dumb dancing shit.
Do you?
Yeah,
do
you do.
Though? Because I think people get what they look at. It's an algorithm. So if I look at puppies all day, tomorrow I'm going to get a bunch of puppies.
Yeah, you might. Dude, I tried one time saying like, I'm like, are they listening? Like, is the algorithm listening? I shit you not, dude. Like, I was like, there's no way it's going to show me a baby stroller. So like I made sure to like not like look up baby stroller or anything like that. And I just kept saying, you know, like into my phone.
You kept talking about baby strollers?
Baby stroller, you know, just my phone, you know, just, you know, like not ever like looking at it like on Google or anything like that. Sure enough.
You got a baby stroller
I got a baby. I'm like, people are like, well, that's just a coincidence. You know what I mean? Bull fucking shit.
That seems like a good test you did, dude. That's a good one.
Dude, I guarantee you, I even took a screenshot of this baby stroller ad. I was like, how the fuck? I was like, no fucking way. Dude, you might get a baby stroller right now.
Because we're talking
about it. Yeah, because like because here it might take it from like, it might attach you from Spotify, you know, and then like, they talked about baby stroller, so maybe I need to show some baby stroller ads or something like that.
It's on Social Dilemma, you know, that documentary it was a Netflix documentary about, you know, the social media algorithms and things like that. It made an argument saying that the reason things pop up when you think you talked about them only and it shows you and you're, someone's listening to me. It made an argument that it's because all the data they have on you, you become that predictable. It's not that they're listening to you. It's that they understand you so well that they can show you what they predict you're going to want to see.
Yeah.
Because they understand you so well.
But a baby stroller?
Yeah, your test.
But a baby stroller?
Your test, I feel like, threw that shit out the window, dude.
Baby stroller. Dude,
genius,
you should totally try this out. Like, just pick something random, you know, and just make sure you don't talk about it on a podcast. And then that kind of just kind of leads into the idea that like they are indeed listening to you, but
for sure, dude.
There's surveillance on everybody. Everybody's probably got like a profile, like this person is this and so forth. Like, so you know when that Snow guy, or not, what's his name? Edward Snowden.
Yeah,
he kind of just really pushed that out. It's kind of saying
Homeland Security.
You know, like they're actually spying on you guys, and
we're like, what?
And then,
okay.
And like, that's treason. Let's get him.
But I feel like it's got to be even just bigger than that. It's probably not even as small government as we think with our president. It's probably some crazy Illuminati shit in reality of the existence we live in. There's probably some Illuminati shit going on where they fucking ruling the world.
Dude, sometimes I'm like talking on the phone itself and I'm like talking and so forth. And then I hear some weird click, you know, like who's that? Who the fuck is on here? You know, like you hear weird shit like I'm like, that's such a bad way of like, you know, like, because they fuck up. It almost kind of seems like, you know, it's like, dude, I was like, and we just gonna joke around and like, was that somebody listening? You know,
I feel like it's got to be AI though implemented there, because if we have amazing AI tools, top of the fucking food chain, they got the best AI tools.
They're like taking it and they're summarizing every conversation.
Everyone listen, just put an AI algorithm whenever you hear these keywords, bomb, terrorist, something like that. Then
boom, you're tagged now on this podcast too. You know, and said bomb.
Here we go.
Every time I'm like talking about something, like, damn it, I just said this word. Now I'm probably tagged. You know,
it's but like, fuck them, dude.
Yeah,
what are they gonna do?
Yeah, but a lot of people are like, well, I got nothing to hide, so I don't have to really worry about anything or so forth, you know. But a lot of people are like, well, we cannot let them spy on us and so forth, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, I got nothing to hide, so, you know.
I mean, and especially, I mean, you've had a podcast, and I feel like some people, dude, they act like you got to be careful what you say, dude. Don't talk about that. Don't let people. Fuck that, dude. Fuck that. Yeah. Honestly, like, I mean, I was in the Marine Corps, and I was like, I got, you know, all my Marine friends, and I just feel like there's no way in hell you're gonna fucking fuck us over with some freedom of speech is gonna live on. And if someone's trying to stomp that, I guarantee me and all my Marine buddies, and I'm sure a whole group of other Marines out there, we're going to fucking stand up to that.
Oh,
Because that is not going to happen here.
And like cut off your speech. The hell no. Yeah. No, it's the beauty of America. You have freedom of speech. You can say anything you want.
We grew up with sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt you.
Yeah,
and then one day people are like, your words are hurting me.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop it.
Yeah, I don't know when that shift freaking happened, but people are very concerned about cancel culture itself. Like people, this is the way I kind of view it is like people like on Facebook and Instagram and all of these social media, but they're just primarily just curating like a representation of their character itself. It has to be very polished, very pretty, very non-controversial or so forth. And I would say like 80-90% of people just follow that mechanism itself, But there are some people that are like, I don't give a fuck what I say. This is who I am and I can say whatever the fuck I want essentially. And I'm kind of like one of those people.
Oh, I know. You are a wild boy, dude.
Wild.
You are super rebellious. You're a rebellious nature guy.
Yeah, I am. I'm probably like one of the only people that has like really like taken that stance. Like, cancel me, go for it. Like go for it, cancel me. You know. I heard this kind of saying like, just go for it. My worst case scenario is I'll just move back to Bosnia. You know what I mean? I have like a freaking house over there. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, dude.
I can just like, if I ever get canceled, I'm gone. You know
my
what
gosh,
I mean?
you're not going to get canceled. Dude, I'm reading this book, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. Mm-hmm. It's about Hitler's, the rise during the 1930s. Just pretty much from Hitler's day one as a baby.
Oh, really? Just kind of like his whole documentary kind of deal?
Yeah, it's a huge book. Well, I'm listening to it. It's 58 hours long.
Oh, my God.
And it's super good. It won Best Nonfiction in the 40s, which is right after World War II. And there's a part, I realized Hitler didn't get into power and all this bullshit because of the free speech aspect, because they let him talk. That's not the problem. The problem was because Hitler censored everybody.
Oh, really?
He censored all the other ideologies. He owned all the newspapers and just pretty much was like, I'm in charge. The way he legally got into the system. But the whole writing was censorship. Don't let other people say things. And it's funny because today I think people take it as, don't let people say bad ideas because it's going to turn into a Hitler situation.
See, I didn't.
But it's the reverse.
The reverse is the censorship. He's censoring everybody to go ahead and have his own narrative itself. It's crazy. I was also watching just like this other movie, Napoleon. Have you watched that?
Oh, yeah. The one that in theaters right now?
Yeah.
We watched it the other day. It was awesome.
It was like a documentary. It was like fascinating to watch that movie
Phoenix.
itself. That guy is freaking amazing. Have you ever watched his movie called Her or something like that? What? You haven't watched Her?
No.
Are you freaking out of your mind?
It's awesome.
Like he's basically, it's kind of like, it's like, here's what basically kind of happens. Like the narrative is like there's an operating system, right? And then everybody gets like this operating system. It's kind of like
it's modern.
It's like an OS, basically. It's kind of like a phone. And guess what? He's talking to an AI, basically. It's like an operating system is an AI. It's him. Joaquin Phoenix, Mm-hmm. And then he like falls in love. Like this AI is kind of like ChatGPT, basically. I'm pretty sure they could probably already make it like what it was. But like the whole premise is like everybody like falls in love with their AI. The AI basically makes them better. And it's literally the movie. We're in this movie right now, basically. Dude, you got to watch that movie. It's so good. I remember like I was like on my edge of my seats. I'm like, this is such a freaking good movie.
I love AI movies.
Yeah, dude. There's that other one where like
Ex Machina.
Ex
Machina.
Did you watch that? Did you watch that?
Oh yeah,
that was good.
I'm like, don't trust her. Don't trust her.
Don't. Yeah, dude. And then it was like, well, we won't spoil it what happened, but it was so good.
It was good. I mean? Honestly, because I was developing trust. I was like, this AI bitch she's awesome. Yeah, dude. That's such a good movie. What about 2049 Blade Runner?
Oh, I love Blade Runner.
Joe. The Ana de Armas, she's also an AI girl. He's in love with her.
Okay.
Did you see that one?
I haven't
seen
it.
The new Blade Runner, 2049.
I've seen it, but it was such a while ago. I hardly remember. I think I even remember watching the first one. I remember watching the first one. I think it was with Harrison Ford.
Yeah, Harrison
and
Ford.
then this one. This one was pretty good too, but it was so long ago, I can't remember the exact plot of it anymore.
Roger Deakins is the cinematographer of it, so I love it.
That cinematography on there, holy shit! I was like, this is fucking good.
Yeah. So the plot of that one is that guy, he's an AI. He's a robot AI guy.
Oh yeah,
but he's a detective.
Oh yeah.
And he has an AI girlfriend, Anna Darmus, who keeps him.
Yeah.
You remember?
I gotta rewatch this movie again. It was so good, though. I love. I'm a really big fan of like sci-fi movies and that look. I almost wanted to do like these things where I try to make Twin Falls kind of look like that. Put like some like cyberpunk.
Oh yeah, some After Effects
some
going
After Effects happening in there. I always kind of try to do something like with Twin Falls with cyber effect kind of deal. That's what I really want to try to do.
You're such a creative guy, dude.
Yeah.
You have so much that you want to just create and create and create. Yeah. What were you like in high school, dude?
I was very, very shy. Like, imagine like being super shy. I didn't really actually come out of my shell, I was always kind of like really concerned. I always try to be like funny. You know what I mean? I always wanted to try to make people laugh or so forth, but I was never like the class clown or so forth. I'm always kind of inspired. I was like, wow, this guy's so funny. I want to be like him.
It was like quiet jokes to your friends.
Quiet jokes, and then once in a while I'll get like a laugh out of the whole classroom or something like that. Something funny I say. I'm like, yes, But yes. But I would also really like. Have you ever watched like Dane Cook?
Oh yeah,
I really loved Dane Cook back in the day, like
the Monopoly one. Fuck this game, Grandma.
Fuck this game. Yeah. Well, there's so many like things that they would like say as well. Like he was just what I think I really liked about him is like he's a good storyteller. Yeah, that's what he really is. He's just a good storyteller, and then he just
those are the best types of comics.
Yeah, that's all. They're all just really good storytellers, basically. So
do you have any bits yourself? Do you ever like think of a story and you're like, that would be a funny ass story?
Well, that's what I try to kind of like do with like the videos and the content that I create. I was kind of telling Sarah this, which was basically like, some people will make like a painting, they'll put it up online. Like, look at this painting that I did or so forth. My paintings are videos, There is nobody basically that says this is good enough or this is like approved or so forth. It is what it is, whatever I kind of want it to basically be. And that's kind of like it's like a painting of my own itself. I just push out 3 paintings a day or so forth, It
just sucks that our art is pretty stuck in the digital world. Well, I think there's a lot of value to like hard real world
painting.
Art. Yeah, like a painting. You see the strokes.
Yeah.
It's like you can see where they touched and there's something. People think the same way with like old films, like film cameras, where the light burned onto a paper and that paper, like a Polaroid.
Yeah.
Like that is the light captured in that moment.
Yeah.
It's a little fucked up, but it's the real thing.
Yeah, this is kind of still it as well. You're kind of captured the essence in a video format still. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's the storytelling art aspect.
Exactly. But, I do like art as well, too. I used to do a lot of painting and drawing, and I was really into 3D animation. For the longest time, I was going to be an animator. Like, I was going to work for Pixar until Pixar tried to sue me, basically.
No, and that's not... What?
Yeah.
When? Why?
Listen, I'm a very complicated person. You know what I mean? Pixar
got beef with you?
Pixar got beef with me. They were trying to sue me or something like that, which is nuts. So like what happened was like, so while I was in refugee camp, right? Here's what happened. Like I watched Lion King. I was like one of the first animated movies I've ever watched. And I saw that and I thought it was like the most magical thing ever.
Facts.
I was like, this is amazing. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, I want to do that. I want to draw like that and make like a character jump around and do whatever, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But I knew I could never draw that good. And I think I realized that you have to kind of draw every frame or so forth. So it's a lot of drawing and so forth. But I kind of that's why I got into like drawing and so forth. But then once I got into the US itself, Toy Story 1 hits, Boom. I'm like, oh my God, like this is like a computer. I'm like, so I realized like that you can make a character in a computer.
Models.
It's like a 3D model. You can kind of like make a move, do whatever you want. And then I was like, this is freaking amazing. Like that. And then so my shift went from 2D to 3D, right? And then that's kind of like around when like Lord of the Rings was also kind of coming out as well too. So they had like those trolls, like rah, you know, like, you know, I don't know if you remember seeing
like CG or something?
CG trolls and so forth, and the elephants and so forth. I was like, how the frick are they doing that? So I'm like working at Jack in the Box. I think I'm like age like 16, 17 at this point, maybe 18 or something like that. I'm trying to figure out how they're doing that. And then I realized it's a program called Maya, you know? So I'm like, Maya. So then I hacking away, you know, like I get a copy of Maya. There's like this free edition with the watermarks. So I'm like becoming like learning the ins and out of this program. I even go to Tennessee to take like a class for a whole month. We just basically were at this like school, and then basically every day we just spend 8 hours a day learning the program. I got pretty good at it, but you know, you kind of make like a little demo reel, but then you really had to kind of go to like LA. But I came back to Twin basically, you know, and there was no 3D animation jobs in Twin, obviously, you know, but I started making tutorials like how to make this, how to make that, how to make this. And then at one point I thought, I was like, you know what, I kind of want to know how to make all the Pixar characters. You know, like from Toy Story all the way to whatever the latest one was.
Okay.
So I started making a tutorial one after another one, kind of like showing, this is how you 3D model this. This is how you 3D model that. Like these Toy Story characters. Guess who didn't like that?
Oh my, what? You put them on YouTube?
Put them on YouTube.
And Pixar was like, stop doing that.
Exactly.
What? No way. How'd you get the message?
Got a lawyer letter, basically cease and desist.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
I wonder if that would fly these days, because
it probably would not fly these days. Yeah, I was just too stupid back then, basically. But I kind of saw it as like, this is my dream job, right? Coming down with a hammer, bam. So I just kind of, it was like, I didn't want to work for Pixar anymore. Then I was like, fuck these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to like inspire and show how to do this for other people and so forth, you know, gonna get, you know, but then I was done. You know what I mean? So that was that whole Pixar story itself.
That's pretty cool, though.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a cool story.
Freaking Pixar lawyers came after me because
they were threatened by you, bro.
Yeah, dude. Like, what the hell? It's like, I'm just trying to show how to freaking 3D model your damn characters. And they saw that as a negative.
That's weird. And, they wouldn't be a negative anymore.
Yeah, it would not be.
That'd be viral, and they'd be like, this is awesome. You should work on our team.
Exactly. And
back in the day, dude, people are like, even today, like in the digital media program, and even today with sometimes when I talk to clients, people are very up their ass about copyright shit.
Yeah.
A little too much sometimes. I'm like, it's not that big of a deal anymore.
It's not that big of a deal. They have that fair use now, so you can do fair use lets you do a lot of stuff as long as you're not copying it exactly and putting it over here somewhere else. And then if you're modifying it, and
you can just put your face over it.
Yeah.
And now it's commentary and it's fair use.
Dude, like they have all those like channels now where it's kind of like you know, like movie reviews. They're using like footage from the trailer and stuff like that, and they're helping the movie be promoted because, you know, they give kind of insights or so forth. What kind of YouTube stuff do you watch? I was kind of curious about that.
What am I watching on YouTube these days? Mr. Beast. Whenever he comes out with one, it's like top of the line entertainment.
Million views.
He's doing some awesome shit. I'm like, that is like the highest level of like reality show entertainment. And then maybe like fitness stuff. Sam Solik. I've been looking. You know who that is?
No, I don't know.
He's getting popular. He's this big ass jacked guy working out and fitness influencer who's rising in the ranks. And I don't really watch much on YouTube, actually.
Yeah, it's too busy. You got to edit your own stuff, you know. Sometimes I feel like I'm too busy working on my own stuff that I don't have time to go ahead and invest in somebody else's stuff, because it's like you're a lot of consuming itself, you know.
I'm more of an audiobook guy. I like to just tune out with the audiobook.
I really like audiobooks too. It's like you just hit play and you can just be kind of doing, especially when you're driving. I'm a really big fan of like put an audiobook, try to get educated while you're going to somewhere. Otherwise, you can just be listening to music. But it gets boring after a while. You're like, okay, I'm done with this.
You need a good ass book. So every night I wash the dishes and I put on my Sony noise canceling headphones that I got as a gift. And I just put on like the book of my choice with Rise and Fall of the Third Reich right now. And I just, it tunes out the whole rest of the world. I just sit there and wash dishes. It's super enjoyable for me.
Yeah. It's almost kind of like tune out. I know I saw you were doing scuba diving as well too at one point, right?
Yeah. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was a scuba diver.
You were a scuba diver in the Marine Corps?
No. Recreational scuba diver.
Oh, okay. Recreational.
I wasn't scuba diving for the Marine Corps, but I was living in Japan in Okinawa. Mm-hmm. So that's a popular scuba spot. Oh, so I went and got my open water.
Oh, okay.
Where are you at?
Just open water, like I can only go to like 100, and that's about it.
You can only go.
Yeah.
The scuba police gonna get you.
Hey, you can go.
I guess they get nitrous or whatever the hell. Nitro. Yeah. What do they call that? Special oxygen.
Yeah, you got to get to nitro or something like that, or I don't know. It sounds like we're like nitrogen for cars. You know what I mean? Yeah, really kind of like that's
super pure oxygen.
Yeah, or definitely makes you go longer itself. I always tell people like get into scuba diving itself. It's just so cool.
Yeah, you're promoting that in this area though, where it's all just nasty, dark, murky water. That's scary as fuck.
Yeah, it's bonkers. I don't like. I only typically hit up like Box Canyon or Ritter Island.
Pretty shallow.
Yeah, you're only going like 15 feet.
Like, there's a trout there. There's a trout there.
Yeah, you're only going 15 feet.
You ever done tropical stuff?
No, I really want to. Next time I'm like, so I'm always looking for like the best spot or so forth, but it's just so expensive, you know. I'm usually spending my money to just kind of go around like, I'll either go to like Oregon or Northern Idaho. I was in like Canada not that long ago. I was at that Marine Lake or something like that.
Oh, yeah?
Were you there as well too?
No.
No?
What are you talking about?
I could have swore I saw some photos of you, that lake, the Blue Lake and so forth. So I try to go to like places like, around, I don't go super far out. It's expensive. Yeah. You know what I mean? Ideally, I would like to just be able to travel the world anywhere I want. Yeah. But where are you going to get the money for that? You know what I mean? It's very, very tough to kind of keep that gig essentially kind of going where you're getting paid to travel around. So
yeah, but if you can get some sort of remote work, you can fly over to Asia for like $300.
Yeah,
for one way.
That's true. I really want to go to like Bali. Have you been Bali? Oh man, I want to go over there. There's like a lot of cool shit over there. Kind of see. I have a friend over there, and he's like, oh, I'll help you find a spot. Here you can kind of go make a bunch of vlogs here or something like that.
Southeast Asia is pretty cheap.
Oh yeah,
usually.
Yeah. I really want to kind of do that. Kind of just get out of like Twin a little bit because I've done everything you can possibly do here. Sometimes I'll revisit a lot of places. You know what I mean? Just try to put a different angle at it or something like that. There's a whole world to explore, and I just feel like I barely touched a little section of it.
Oh yeah, dude! Come on, get out there. Where you want to go? Asia, Europe,
everywhere,
Africa.
I look at those books, where like best places to travel around the world. I look at that and I'm like, I want to go to every one of those places itself.
Anything on the top of your radar right now?
I don't know. It's for me, it's kind of like it's like every day is different, and I just kind of like figure out something that I want to do, and then I just do it. You know what I mean? I don't know. What about you? Do you have any kind of spots that you're thinking about going?
I'm going to Turkey this week.
Oh, really? Yeah. This week?
Yeah.
No freaking way.
Friday, I'm going to be gone for a week in Turkey.
You're always like traveling. It seems like you're doing like a lot of these like documentaries where you're traveling or so forth. How did you get into those documentaries, I guess?
So I did a documentary on Kendra Samardzis, the family boxing, and that was my first like personal award-winning short film documentary I sent off to film festivals. And one day I got a request for a camera operator in Boise from this company. And they were like, oh, do you shoot documentaries? I was like, yeah. Can you send us some of your work? And I said, yeah. Sent them that film with some awards on it and said, oh, this is what I do. And they hired me. And it was Generation Iron. And they're like the #1 bodybuilding media company. Uh-huh. And I went and worked with them in Boise with some girl who was getting into bodybuilding. We were doing a film on them. And one morning before we shot, they were like, oh, this guy in Florida fucked up. Can you come to Florida tonight? And I was like, not planning on it, but I was like, sure, let's go.
And
we red-eye flew there that night. I got there and I started working because the guy who was there, he showed up with just a little camera. And you know me, I got these big ass cameras. They look better.
Yeah, they got the nice Sony. These are cinema cameras, dude.
Yeah, if a client sees that, they're like, oh, we're like, they're
this guy knows
higher level or something.
Yeah.
But it's all about the operator in the end.
Yeah.
And the story.
Yeah.
But so I go there and the guy showed up with a little camera and he was asking the clients, business people, like, oh, you guys have a gimbal I can use? And he just embarrassed the guys, the Generation Iron guys. And he wanted to establish a good connection with their clients. So then I went over there with my big cameras and they trusted me because I kind of, I'm like a hard worker kind of guy. And we go there and that was the one with Chris Bumstead, who's a super famous bodybuilder. He's just won, I think, his 5th Mr. Olympia.
Okay.
And that kind of got me into the works with them. And from then on, they just kind of started hitting me up. And I went to Mongolia next, and then Korea, and then Colombia, and now I'm going to Turkey.
That's freaking awesome. Yeah, you're just basically going everywhere for like a little bit here, a little bit over there. That's awesome. Yeah, it's kind of like, that's what you wanted to do, is you were always kind of like inspiring to be a documentary maker itself.
Oh,
yeah. So basically you just kind of did what documentary makers do, which is make documentaries. And then it's anything that you want to do, you just do it. And then it's there. I love how people think that there's a secret. They're like, if I just find out this secret, like what's Arnel's secret on this or so forth, there is no secret. It's like you just do. Do
what you want to do. Yeah. Then people will recognize you as that person who does that thing.
Exactly.
And then they will eventually pay you to do that thing because you got so good at it.
Exactly. That's the whole entire secret. It's like, I love how people think there's some kind of big secret to get into or so forth.
And it takes forever. It's like, that's the thing. People want the secret because it's now.
Yeah.
I want to be a documentary filmmaker by the end of the year.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't even started anything. I've never made anything. It's like, if you want to start making documentaries, for instance, for what I'm in, my first documentaries were complete shit, and they were like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just kept making little shitty documentaries
until better.
Finally I made a good documentary. Yeah. And now I'm making professional, legit documentaries.
Yeah. You were like, you have some stuff that are like on Netflix and like, where are they at? I could have sworn they were like at different places. The big documentaries, some of them.
Yeah. So Generation Iron films primarily go on Netflix, and then I worked on Ultimate Rides, I was the director of photography on that, which is a reality show, and that one was on Hulu. And then De Viaje de los Derbez, the family. Derbez family. Do you know who Eugenio Derbez is?
No.
Very famous Mexican. He's like the highest paid Mexican actor, I think, right now. And I went on a reality show with him, and we went traveling around all the national parks. And that one is on Amazon.
Yeah, that's crazy. You can say, I'm on Netflix, I'm on Hulu, and I'm on Amazon. Like that's freaking mind-boggling. You know what I mean?
But I want to get on there with my director.
Yeah,
I want my things.
Well, you're gonna get there. Yeah. You're gonna get there. It's gonna be like, it's just gonna be finding the right story. I don't know. Are you constantly looking for stories or documentary opportunities, or do you think in your mind like, well, because you know how much it takes to go ahead and bust out like a 30. I've had people try to make me do like 30, 40 minute documentaries, and like it's
with
like
no budget.
With no budget, and it's like, listen, it will not look good. The amount of time that you have to put into these is ridiculous. So much edit. You know. But are you looking for like documentary ideas or so forth? Or are you just currently just like helping make other people documentaries?
So yeah, my thing I'm doing right now is I'm making sports documentaries. That's obviously the kind of the niche I've fallen into, and I love it. Like I didn't intend to ever be in sports documentary. It just kind of happened. And when I look back now, I go, I have a great resume for us as a sports documentary filmmaker.
Yeah.
From like all these professional bodybuilders to like fencers and rock climbers and boxers and all, like just a bunch of sports documentaries under my belt. And now, I just finished one with College of Southern Idaho. My next big aim is I'm going to be making documentaries with universities.
Yeah.
And then after that, professional sports, and then after that, legends. I'm going to make documentaries with legends. Do you do any visualization or anything like that?
Like visualizing the future. Is that what you mean?
Of what you want your life to become.
I don't like. It's so like my brain is so sporadic. Like you can kind of like literally look at my Instagram feed and that is a representation of my brain basically. So I don't typically plan out super far ahead, like, cause like I am only planning like a week ahead, you know, like if you need something from me, like, and you're trying to schedule this out like a month or 2 months, good luck what I'm going to be doing then. It's like, so if you need something, you should probably hit me up within a week or something like that. So I don't really try too much, but I do hear good stuff about it where you're like trying to visualize the future and how you envision it. But yeah, I haven't really done too much of like visualizing kind of like that. Is that what you're kind of visualizing is like?
I've been doing it a lot lately because all the really great men I've been around on these documentary journeys that we've been documenting, one common thing amongst them all, it seems they visualized a lot. And it seems to be something to actually visualization. I've had a few things in my life that I've like, can't believe it ended up happening. Like I was dreaming about it. I'm sure you've had the same way where it was like a dream and you wanted to get there. And you don't even know when you got, like for me, like it's like, how did I even get here? I can't believe this. Like I'm about to go to Turkey to shoot documentary. This is exactly what I wanted. 5 years ago. But now I'm, you get used to everything.
It's just, it's
you got to revisualize another dream where it gets higher and higher.
Yeah. Usually, you know, what's funny? Cause like every time I kind of wanted something or so forth, it usually always comes true. You know what I mean? So whatever I kind of set my mind to or whatever I want, it usually just manifests. And it's a good way of kind of like, I think what you're talking about is like, just visualize where you want to be at. And that's what you've probably seen with all these people that you're doing documentaries about is they get to their goal by visualizing themselves in that position or whatever. And they just take small little steps to kind of get to that goal itself.
When you were a kid, did you ever so when I was a kid, I would look up at the airplane sometimes and I would close my eyes and imagine myself riding in the airplane and I'd feel like, me and my brother, we used to call it the imagination station.
Oh, really?
And we'd because we didn't have a PlayStation and we did have the PlayStation at the time. But when we were not at our PlayStation, we'd play on the imagination station.
Okay. All right.
Like SpongeBob. And we would just sit there and imagine ourselves in places.
Okay.
And I'm like, eventually, you just kind of grow out of that. The imagination leaves you. But I think that's a lot. I try to tap into that kind of energy when I visualize the future. I want to put myself into
tap into that itself.
And I'm just like, this is where I'm going to be. This is what it's going to feel like when I'm there. And I just try to put that out.
Yeah.
And then I just start working. And when those opportunities come, capture those opportunities.
Exactly. It's kind of like you're telling the universe you want this. So it kind of brings you what you want, essentially. You almost, like sometimes the universe, you can say what you want to the universe and it will happen. You know what I mean? As long as you just say, this is what I want. And then you kind of aim for it.
I like to think there's a consistency factor to it though. Like you have to consistently,
you can't just
dream about it.
Yeah.
It has to be in your subconscious, like an actual desire. Because right now we could be, universe, I want $1 million to be left on my front door, to next week. And
it's not going to happen. Yeah. But you got to do the work to try to do that itself. But it can happen, Mine was more like, I always wanted to tell stories. Like when I saw that, The Lion King and Toy Story or so forth, I saw that as like a tool to go ahead and try to tell stories itself. So that's what kind of like inspired me.
What is it about stories that you like so much? Why do you want to tell stories?
I don't know. It's like you almost kind of like, it's like you hear that saying like everybody's got a story or so forth. You know what I mean? I've always had stories and they're kind of like an entertainment kind of thing that I kind of like tell people and so forth. And I hate the fact that I'm losing stories. Like like
your memories.
Your memory just
That's
fades.
what this is for me, dude. I'm forgetting shit. Sometimes I'll put a post of just a memory.
Yeah.
Purely because I know all the older people in my life, they don't forget everything.
We are documenting our stories here, basically. You are capturing a moment in time right here, which my brain will delete this conversation because I think of my brain as a hard drive. And this hard drive does not have enough storage, so it's got to get rid of stuff, And
I think this is another factor to the reason why I post stories of my own life a lot now is because the amount of funerals I've attended now, and they put up, the Snapchats and the videos and pictures of, the person who passed away.
Yeah.
And you sit there and watch, their story essentially. And I don't want things to get lost. I put things out there because I want, my little brother someday, or my son or my kids, and just people to be able to look back and go, what the hell did Jason do? Oh, look at this story about Jason.
Yeah.
There's such cool stories that I've experienced in my life that I just don't want. I feel sad to imagine that they just die.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that with when I look into like historical stuff, a lot of stuff just dies, you know what I mean? And it's like forgotten in time itself. With YouTube and all of these social media platforms, it at least tries to makes it so that we can preserve the information, the thought, the ideas, and so forth that we were basically talking in this moment of time itself. So it's kind of like, even if I'm dead or so forth, all of my content will still be out there, living out there, as long as YouTube just doesn't crush me
Earth.
Itself, or deletes the content itself, then my legacy essentially lives on through my ideas, my videos, and so forth. Now, there's a lot of people that just want to get through to the end of the life itself, not cause any kind of commotion or kind of problems, or
they want to be quiet.
Be quiet.
Nobody knows I'm here other than my small group.
Yeah, exactly. And that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? But it's like, are you like, is this what you were meant to freaking do? And I hate to think that there's so many people that are like not taking advantage of the time that they have here, because if you don't use your time, you're just going to waste it. You know what I mean?
And I think a lot of people like to look at, because I just have a lot of, kind of introverted friends, especially when coming from the Marine Corps, we get a lot of operational security, briefs. So we all kind of become very low key online because they tell you to do that.
Yeah.
You don't want the terrorists to see what you're up to.
Yeah.
And then,
what is Jason here doing? Like making a documentary about?
Yeah. And so I think there's a culture kind of embedded in a lot of types of people, like the friends I have, where they just don't want a presence. They don't want public presence at all. And I don't know.
What do you feel about what do you try to? Do you ever tell them like, hey, it's fine, nobody cares? Like, I don't think people understand how people don't care.
I think it's because I have felt that way too. I think there's a perception that it's all ego. You just want to fluff your ego. You want likes. You want people to see your stuff. And so it's an ego-driven journey. But my mind has shifted recently over the last few years, and especially after doing this podcast, that I think this media isn't just, it depends how you use it, of course, but I think it's a globalizing, uniting, connecting thing. Because of the internet, look at the war in Israel and Palestine now. People are, up in arms about the atrocities. But this is war. This is how war has been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you're Bosnian, dude.
Bosnia. From war.
So it's like, it's on the internet now. And I think it's just becoming more, it's empathizing the world.
It shows the reality, what's going on or so forth. Before, like in Bosnia itself, everybody just depended on the news. You know what I mean? So you would get a narrative based off of what the news wanted to kind of tell you or so forth. But now it's like it empowers everybody to be a news person itself, and they can just go out there and make their own story, and everybody has their own opinion or so forth. So it kind of brings things better in light itself,
And I think when you share your story, you're humanizing yourself, because people can see that you're a person, that you've gone through journeys too. I think sharing your story can be beneficial almost for everybody.
Yeah.
But it's just a scary thing, because you have to throw yourself up to potential criticism.
You get lessons, you know what I mean? Like, so for example, even like somebody might watch this and like, how do I become a documentarian? You know what I mean? They might get some lessons from you, like how you did it, and they just might try to follow your path on that itself. So it's kind of like a shortcut. You're getting little tits and bits information that might help you in your own journey itself. You know what I mean?
And I like to imagine my grandkids someday looking back at me right now as a 30-year-old and wondering what kind of guy I was like. So maybe when they become 30, they could sit there and listen to their grandpa almost like a peer.
Yeah.
I think that sounds awesome. I would love to be able to pull up a video of my great-great-grandpa in Korea about to leave as a refugee to Mexico and watch what kind of person he was at 30. That sounds like the most insane, awesome connecting experience.
Mind-boggling, you know what I mean? Because that's, you just can't do that because they didn't have the technology. They couldn't do it. I mean, we just get photos basically. So then you have to kind of like figure out like, well, and then stories from other people and so forth. And if you
don't capture their essence though.
Yeah, you don't capture the essence. So I guess really with my videos, I'm trying to capture my essence, who I am through video itself, through like ideas and things that I've said, actions that I've taken and so forth. It's just the essence of me itself. And this will live on forever, basically. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of cool. And I think everybody should be kind of like preserving their essence that they were here on this earth and they did this and so forth. So just do as much cool shit as you can. Live life however you want. And if that makes you happy, like if you just want to have a family or so forth and you're satisfied with that, then that's your life itself. But if you want to like do more shit and so forth, you can do anything you want. I think I basically came to a realization that like the world is just a playground and then you get to do whatever you want in it itself. And then until you realize this, you're going to be stuck into like a mindset that you currently have, essentially.
For myself as well, I think that I had to reach a point where I know people say it's a weird thing to say you love yourself. Because it's like, well, it sounds kind of egotistical. Like, I just I'm never going to change. I've improved myself enough as a person to the point where I feel like I genuinely have good intentions. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be mean to people anymore, although I feel meanness in me sometimes when people are assholes. You're like, I told myself I was a better person than this.
I can see that, yeah.
But I think you have to get to a point where you feel comfortable having a public voice because you are comfortable with who you are. And but part of that is not tying yourself to who you are now. Like you can change your ideas later. You can talk to people and be like, I'm not attached. That me in that moment isn't me forever. And once you get comfortable with that idea, I think you can have a public voice with less worry because you don't have to be afraid of people judging you in that moment because you're a malleable, adapting, fluid person.
Yeah. And this is another thought that I had. I remember I'm like, when I make these funny videos, I'm trying to make myself laugh. I'm like, I make it because they make me laugh. I'm like, this is so funny to me. But I don't really care what like the general public conceives it. If it makes me laugh or so forth, that's the reason I do it, is because like I thought it was funny to me. So I'm constantly just trying to make myself laugh through like content and whatever I basically kind of make. It's like, it's primarily for me, and the audience just gets to view it itself. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like the direction that I've been like, I'm sticking on this direction. I don't really care. I would honestly care if nobody watched it, I don't care. At least as long as I got to document it itself. That's really kind of what it comes down to.
It seems like the greatest artists always say that too. Rick Rubin, I just heard him say that on a reel. Rick Rubin's a famous music producer who's worked with all the greatest. If you can think of a famous artist, he probably worked with them. Rick Rubin says that. Quentin Tarantino says that. Where's my boy Quentin? Pulp Fiction.
There it is. Yeah.
You ever watch Quentin Tarantino works?
Oh yeah, I watched that movie.
Which one's your favorite?
Well, I watched that movie itself.
Did you watch Inglourious Bastards?
I've watched so many movies that I don't even like.
Brad Pitt, Nazi hunting Jew guy.
I think I watched that movie itself.
They kill Hitler.
Okay. I think that was, you have no idea.
Amazing movie.
I used to have like thousands of movies itself. I'm a very big lover of movies itself. But the thing is, like, again, it goes back to like hard drive space. It's like they get deleted. You know what I mean? So I forget the plot, what happened, and so forth. I need to rewatch some of these movies itself.
What's your favorite movie?
I don't really have a favorite movie.
Let me reword this. What movie are you always going to watch again as you continue this life?
Well, there's a few movies that every time I put it on, I'm like, I enjoyed this movie. And one of them is Gladiator.
Oh, yeah.
You like Gladiator?
I tried to get Irvina to watch that the other day.
That movie's the best. Like I always go to Gladiator itself. I don't know what it is with that movie itself. It's like, it holds its, like you can watch it today and it'll be like, that's a good movie. You know what I mean?
Joaquin Phoenix once again.
Yeah. He's so good, and like all of his stuff.
I hate him in that movie though. I fucking hate that guy.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that guy is really, really like. I feel like any movie that I've kind of watched with him is like pretty good.
When I watched Napoleon and I saw him at the beginning. I was first a little thrown off, like, how is this weak ass guy going to be Napoleon?
Yeah.
But it all makes sense as the movie goes on. You're like, oh, this is totally what Napoleon was like.
Yeah. I mean, he brings the essence of it. And really, if you think about it, he's a storyteller. This guy's like a freaking good storyteller. The movies he picks is like really, really good ones. And he wants to make sure that imagine if you had a documentary with him.
That'd be sick. Working with legends. That's the goal, dude. I want to work with legends.
Yeah.
But I think sports legends.
Yeah, well, imagine you got to somehow like make a documentary about him or something like that, or like a movie with him or so forth, where you're the director itself. I was trying to do like a documentary about the tunnels. You know, the tunnels,
the 51 tunnels.
51 tunnels. I was like, that's a good documentary. I think people might want to watch that itself, but it's a lot of work, you know, to kind of like do that, to really kind of put it essence itself, you know.
Yeah,
I've worked on a few other ones, but never nothing. There was one about like sex trafficking in Idaho.
Really?
Yeah, I worked on that one with I forgot who it was. It was so long ago.
What were some crazy things you learned from that?
Well, you know, it basically I learned that it happens here in Idaho itself. You know what I mean?
And by sex trafficking, when I hear sex trafficking, I think of like, you know, women and kids getting shoved into a trunk and taken to some dark basement.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah,
or is it like some like
the
crackhead?
highway. They use like the highway itself to kind of get people. A lot of like people that are doing prostitution itself. You know, they'll go to Boise or something like that. They're like traveling around and stuff like that. And
is a lot of that traffic like kind of? This is what I always wonder. Is it to the prostitute's free will, or are they forced?
Well, it's kind of like that's the circumstances. Like they think that's like the only way for them to make money, so they have no other options. You know what I mean? So they kind of fall into like that. Sometimes people fall into these like holes where their job becomes their identity itself, and they don't see a way out of anything else. And I think what I really like is like I envision a society where, like, let's say you're not satisfied with your job or something like that.
Sign up for the Marine Corps.
There's an easy, so you could do that, but there's an easy way to go ahead and try to transition into some other things that you kind of want to like do or so forth, because that way, like, you're not trapped into something you don't like or so forth, that you as a human being can go ahead and shift your position anywhere in this life itself. But again, a lot of times people get stuck into one thing because like I said, I mean, like most people, they'll have a job for like 20, 30 years and then they'll go into retirement and they'll die. You know what I mean? And imagine if you could just try to do like whatever you want, be any kind of like...
I think maybe people don't like taking risks.
Yeah, people,
which is weird because you kind of are taking a risk in everything you do.
Yeah, every day is a risk itself. Yeah. You step outside, you can get hit by a car, you know?
Yeah, or you take a job that's secure. It could not be secure someday.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
Just like, I mean, or you could end up hating it and you get to the end of your life and look back and wish you did other things.
Exactly. And that's the biggest fear that I have is like, I have a fear of getting to the end of life and then kind of realizing I didn't get to do everything that I wanted. So I'll be only satisfied once I get to do everything that I feel like I've wanted. Even when I'm like dying or so forth, you know, like I feel like I have not successfully done everything that I want because there's so much shit to do. You know what I mean?
You want to experience it all.
Yeah, like dude, if there was like an immortality pill or something like that, sign me.
There might be soon. Maybe. Yeah. What if they come out and say, "Hey, Neuralink, we can put it in you, and we can put some metal for your bones, and you're going to be."
I don't know
fine.
if your essence is really. I think they might get to a point. Like I feel like this is what they might be able to do. They might be able to like put a representation of who I am into an AI robot, but it won't be me. It'll just be like zeros and ones. But are we really zeros and ones? Like, think about that.
What's the spirit?
What's the spirit? You know what I mean? Because imagine if they can take your brain and then figure out all zeros and ones.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
replicate it
into
digital.
Much digital. Does that mean if I put that zeros and ones into an AI robot, is that you?
Are we just algorithms in this simulation? I don't think so.
Well,
I think there's something special.
Well, what is it? You know, like
the spirit, the soul.
The soul.
I think there's souls.
You think there's souls?
So you?
I don't know. Like I've seen, I've always wanted to go to like some scary places to kind of see if there is something weird. Has anything ever happened to you where you're like, well, that's fucking weird, you know? Like where you thought the soul was like near you or
ghost?
something
You're
like
talking
that,
about
like a
ghosts?
ghost. Well, a soul is a ghost, right?
Well, ghosts, there's not that much research on ghosts, Arnel. But
There's not much
I
ghost.
think also, like, maybe, who knows? I haven't seen ghosts myself or had a ghost experiences,
Yeah.
but I don't know, dude. I mean, I can imagine. It's just kind of shitty to think that people could get stuck on here, like their soul's stuck here. I'm like, I'm
stuck on Earth and I can't leave.
Yeah,
But
maybe
if I was a ghost, I'm like, I'm gonna have to just fly out of here. If you don't have to eat, like just go around where the heck you want. They're probably in like Hawaii or something, you know?
I think I think I'm more inclined to believe that ghosts are related to some sort of multidimensional thing going on, like a shift in the dimension.
What's your theory of what happens when you're dead itself? I had this crazy theory that you're your dog.
I hope I'm my dog, dude. He's got a good ass life.
Yeah. I had this really crazy idea one day. I was like, what if you like die and then you become your dog and then you're picking yourself up as your dog, and then you're your dog, but you can't, the dog, you over there, cannot say anything that, because you can't speak English or so forth.
It's a little bit like Andy Ware's short story, The Egg.
Yeah. It's kind of like that.
We relive every single person's experience because the universe is an egg, preparing to be matured through experiences. So we can become gods.
I really liked that egg theory itself because, like, right now, I'm me and I'm also you right there. So it's like I'm everybody itself. We just don't know it itself. If that came to be true, I would be thrilled. Like, yes, I'm everybody basically. Because then you get to live every life.
That's scary though, because there's some shitty lives out there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's why I think the essence of that is like you should treat everybody like as good as possible, because when you're like talking to them and so forth, you're really just talking to yourself. You know what I mean?
This is where it gets kind of crazy. I read Sam Harris's book on free will, and he's a neuroscientist. So he gets I think he's agnostic or maybe even atheist. So he almost makes an argument that there is no free will because of we are the circumstances that we're born into almost, because you don't choose your biology, your brain and all this stuff that's made of you. And then you don't choose the influences. So maybe you wake up in the morning, you see, I have coffee and water right here. I just chose, but maybe I chose these because of all the influences that led up to this day. That I was like, you know what? I had coffee and now my brain's thinking coffee and I make this decision, and it's not conscious. It's influence from the external.
Yeah, circumstances that have put you into this position itself. Because some people don't have access to water or coffee itself, And
it all boils down to, the magic soul. I think maybe the soul is that factor isn't accounted for. So if I switch places with you, atom for atom, I had your biology and I grew up in all your experiences. Would I be you?
I don't know. If you everything is just switched, basically.
Yeah, I just took all your atoms. We switched complete atoms. My brain is completely your brain. Every single atom in us switches.
Yeah.
And I grew up under all your circumstances.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. That's an interesting question. It's like, do you? Because then, like, how can you prove a soul even exists? You can't. You just have to believe in it, basically. There's this one book you probably would love. It's called The Book of Everything or something like that. I don't know if you ever. It's like a long ass book.
Who wrote it?
I don't know. It's like a book of everything, and it talks about everything. It talks about like science, atoms.
Is it Eric Weinstein's book?
I can't remember exactly who did it, but it's a good book, dude. You should totally. It's an audio book. I have it as well. It was talking about atoms, and every time I drive by like Auger Falls. I'm thinking about these atoms,
Were you listening to it when you were over there?
No, I was just kind of like, it came to a realization. The book said something like, you have atoms that were part of Albert Einstein. Famous people's atoms are part of you. Like, think about that. So like famous people around the world, okay, their atoms are part of you. You're like, how's that possible? well, maybe he like sneezed, or he maybe like, like somehow his atoms are part of you. Okay, so everybody's atoms.
But there could be potentially it's not though, right?
No, it's a guarantee.
Are your atoms part of me? We're both here right now.
No. Well, I probably might have like said something, and my atoms might have.
You contaminated me with
contaminated you with my atoms. So my atoms are probably for sure are on you by what the book basically says.
That sounds more gross than anything. Yeah. It's like, ew, get his atoms off me.
Get your atoms off of me itself. Now, I can guarantee you my atoms are probably on you. And you were like, no, thank you, but they're upon you itself. And but the book says like, and this is only just like one little chapter, like just the beginning of the book itself. It's like it talks about like Albert Einstein's atoms are on you. This is a guarantee. So atoms that were on part of Albert Einstein are on you. No doubt about it. So you have some of his atoms that have landed on you, part of your body itself. This is a guarantee, basically. And everybody, like, there's a certain amount of time where, it's kind of like these are the people that their atoms are. So every famous person and so forth, and their atoms are part of you.
What's the significance of an atom being part of us?
Well, it just basically means that, like, you have atoms that were part of famous people itself. So they're part of you, basically, And then every time I go, this is where it kind of ties into Twin Falls. Every time I'm going to Auger Falls, there's like that poop plant.
Yeah. The waste system.
The waste system, right? It stinks over there, right? You can smell it.
Yeah.
Right?
And now the shit's part of us.
Yeah, those are atoms. Those are atoms that you're going through, right? And guess where they're going into? They're going into your nose. So every time you go to Auger Falls, you're inhaling so many residences of Twin Falls because their atoms were in their butt. Now I went to poop, and then they were over there. So you're part of this whole entire community because they're poop atoms, right?
Dude, you ever hear of the famous people drinking baby blood?
No, I've never heard this.
This is like crazy conspiracy.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it, but I have friends who really believe it. That
drinking baby blood?
I think it's like they drink baby blood or something like that, and they stay like young forever.
I don't know.
But that sounds like maybe if you ingest young atoms, you're now young.
Well, maybe that's a theory, but I don't know. I'm probably not recommending that.
Don't try it.
Don't try this.
But that might be what the famous people are doing.
Maybe, but I think it probably like just make stuff these days too. I think somebody was like saying that they can just clone you these days. They just aren't allowed to clone you. How would you feel like if somebody just cloned you, like just made another version of you itself?
Because of my belief in the soul, I don't think that's me. So I think it's another being who has who has a similar physical biology as me.
Yeah, it looks exactly like you, but you just think it's a different soul in that person itself.
So I think the spark of life is created when they're being created, and that soul comes maybe from the higher dimension or whatever.
Kind of like that Pixar movie. Remember that when their soul's gonna go into the soul. Yeah, it's like
when they jump and they like go skydive to Earth.
Boom, and then so somebody would basically be jumping into that particular
body that becomes available.
It's exactly. Yeah. See, that makes sense. I mean, I'm inclined to believe that as a possible idea.
Let me run a crazy idea by you real quick. A little test of an idea.
Okay.
Let's say AI becomes sentient, all right?
Like it can think by itself. It becomes like a person.
And it's
Is there a
smarter
soul? Does AI get a soul then?
Okay. Before we get there.
Okay.
AI becomes sentient, and we are no longer the smartest thing on this planet, and they are in charge. But luckily, we have put in some implementations for it to preserve our life.
Yeah.
So we put into the code, do everything you can to reduce human suffering and preserve human life. Eventually, the AI gets to a point into this science fiction, theory that the AI thinks, oh, we should just make everybody on Earth infertile and let them all die off so they don't exist, because that will be the best way to reduce human suffering. Because with that, if they exist, they will suffer eventually. And if they don't exist, they will never suffer.
Yeah,
so
it's like, this computes for me, I guess. You know?
So how would you feel if AI came up to that conclusion?
Well, there's a lot of movies that kind of like dive into that kind of thing. And it always kind of like does not turn out good for the humans, you know? And we basically, as a human race, get like
some Terminator
we're
shit.
terminated. We're just gone, basically. And then the thing is, like, Earth will still continue to live even after we're gone itself. You know what I mean? So
are you against the idea that maybe we shouldn't exist at all because at least we won't suffer? Or do you think there's fault to that idea?
I don't like the idea of an AI coming up with that conclusion itself. Like, I want to live my time here. You know, I don't want AI to interfere with my time here itself. If it can help me, like, you know, get to more places and things like that, then I appreciate AI. But if it's like, if it turns into like, oh, I need to destroy humanity, then no.
Let me play devil's advocate and let's have a conversation here. Okay, you say you want to live, Arnel, but you're going to suffer. And I don't want you to suffer. It's not worth it.
Every day you're living, some people almost say like every day you're suffering, you know what I mean? But like, it's like the mindset that you kind of like change in your head. Some people might be thinking they're suffering, but if you just change a switch in your head and then you're thinking like, I'm living like, this is amazing, I'm alive or so forth, then it's a whole different mindset.
Or you could just embrace neutrality, Arnel, and not have to deal with any negative at all.
Well, yeah, I don't like that idea. Then it's like, then are you really a human if you're just kind of like... if you're like this soda can, like let's say like your soul can be like pumped into this can itself. Are you happy that you're a can now? You know, and like, what are you going to do as a can? Not much, you know what I mean? Like you just, maybe it's thrown into like a landfill or something like that, you know, and you live out. Would you be fine with your soul living out the rest of your eternity somewhere?
But why are you okay with experiencing suffering?
Well, you know, that's part of life. I feel like it's like life is, I have a really good theory of how life is.
Okay.
Life is like a curve, like it goes up and then down. It's like a wave. Okay. So it's like, ooh, like it just goes like this, right? And at any point of this wave itself, you're either going up on the wave or you're going down on the wave. So I could probably like if I ask you like, okay, like here's the wave, where are you at right now today? And keep in mind, this wave just goes up and down like that and so forth. So if you were to ask me like, where am I today? Like today, I'm on the uprise and I'm getting to the top right here, right? But I know once I get to the top, that this, it will never just be at the top itself. It'll start going down itself. So then I'll be on the down, right? And I'll be going down. And then once I hit the bottom, then I'll be back up itself. So life is really kind of like a wave that goes up and down and so forth. So this is a question for you. Where are you on this wave now? Are you on the up? Where are you at?
So I get a lot of inspiration from, I read the Dhammapada, which is the Buddha's book, and the Bhagavad Gita, Hinduism, which is like the origins of Buddhism. And there's an argument that they make on there that, you know, if you hold life is like a tiger, and you are holding it by its tail, and it jumps around and mauls you, and you're sitting there holding the tail.
I've never heard of this theory, but okay, this
and
is
good. You think you're going to control it. You think, oh, I'm gonna be able to keep this tiger away from me if I just keep a hold of this tail. I'll control what happens. But the only real way to be free of the suffering is to let go, and that's what Buddhism's whole philosophy is: kind of detachment, the loss of the ego, because things are so constantly changing beyond our perspective. Like, for instance, if you parked in my spot right there.
Let's took your spot.
And I'm like, what the hell? Or no, you took my spot. And you're like, oh, sorry. And I'm pissed. And then all of a sudden a tree falls, boom, right on that spot. I go, oh, I'm glad I wasn't in that spot. And then you get a lawsuit and you get $100,000 for that. And I'm like, oh, well, I wish that was my spot. It's just constantly changing that it's better to just let go and let things be just to be. And then you can feel more... You feel less suffering when you're detached of the earthly things.
So in your mind, are you thinking that like you're not on this wave? Then you're just kind of like your life to you is you just let go, and then whatever happens. Is that kind of like what you're kind of saying?
Well, I'm not like that. I would love to be at that level.
Yeah, like just let go.
But I feel shitty times for sure. When times are shitty, I'm sitting there going, man, this sucks.
Yeah.
And when times are good, I'm rejoicing. So I'm definitely on the wave.
Yeah, you're on the wave. Yeah, I love the wave. The wave makes me happy because I always know that the wave is going to be ups and down. And the thing is, like, a lot of people like don't see the wave. If you see the wave, then you might be better off. I feel like you just need then you know at least where you're at in life itself at that particular moment of time itself.
But I also Jocko Willink's Good video comes to mind, and whenever shitty things happen, you just look at it and say, good.
Yeah.
So you can go up, and whenever it's time to come down, you can just say, nah, we're staying up.
Yeah.
And you say, oh, you just lost your job? Good. Gives me a chance to get a better job.
I watched that video and I've been trying to use that. It's like, things are not going good for you? Good. I've been saying that to people too. It's like, I was doing that. It's just so funny to just say good. You know what I mean? It's like things are going bad and you're like, good. It's like, good. Like, what the hell, But it makes me better, basically, because it's like if things are going worse or not good, like bad, then it puts you in a position where you have to act, and you have to actually do something. And then it just makes you a better person itself, So I know exactly the video. I even have it like screenshot or something like that. Like,
I think your wave idea is great. I think we need to add an extra factor to it. So maybe the wave isn't linear and just parallel with the floor. Maybe it's climbing up. And so as you have good times, bad time comes. Oh, good. I get to become a stronger person, push through this and go higher.
Oh, so you're thinking like a wave going up towards a mountain or something.
So it's like
that.
a bar graph, and the wave goes, and you could just be like, oh, we're just going to ride this low level.
Yeah.
But every time you go down, you don't take it as a chance to grow. You stay down at the bottom.
Yeah.
But if it comes up and then a bad time comes, you can choose to say good, and you take that a little higher.
And then you go
by
up.
the end of your life,
then you're at the top of the thing. See, I like that. See, you've changed my perspective of the wave. Now the wave, the wave is no longer like this, two. The wave is more kind of like tilted towards
like a tilted wave.
It's a tilted wave itself, like a mountain itself. I never thought about it that way, but I like that idea. I'm going to change that. I've changed that. You've changed my mind on that itself. Yeah, I like. I always kind of think about that, and I don't know. It's you're like I said, you're only here for a limited time, so you might as well use it as much as you can. So it's kind of like what I kind of think about it.
Well, I wanted to ask you some harder questions because I've been learning a lot about.
Let's see,
Bosnia.
Oh, okay, Bosnia.
And I wanted to ask you about because you were pretty old for when Yugoslavia dissolved officially in 1992, and everything started hitting the fan.
Yeah. And
I've just went through Sebastian Junger's book, and he was a war correspondent, and he went to Bosnia, and he writes all about it in a couple chapters about what he saw. And it is insane to me. Like as the picture becomes more clear of what you guys experienced over there, it's fucking wild. I think it's really slept on.
Yeah.
Like people don't understand.
Nobody knows like what, like when we came here, they're like, if I tell somebody like I'm from Bosnia, first of all, they don't know where it's at. They don't even know why I'm here. Nothing,
Fucking refugee.
Yeah.
Refugee.
What does that mean?
Like, dude, it is bad circumstances that Bosnians had to come here from. And I just was wondering if you could share anything you could remember from Yugoslavia started.
War. Well, so I was very young. I was like, maybe like I said, I was like in Bosnia. I think I was around I just finished first grade. So I was going like second grade or something like that. And that's when the war kind of started itself. And as a very young child, basically, I don't really remember too much, but I kind of remember the essence of it, which was basically kind of like, we had to kind of it wasn't safe to sleep in the beds. You had to kind of sleep on the ground and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Power, that wouldn't, it would just be they would just kill off the power itself.
Do you remember when you first realized there was a problem?
I remember that things were different and that, you couldn't live life normally. We had to kind of we were in war. And then I remember one specific night, our neighbor, like maybe a house next over, the next house over itself. I remember like it's some kind of commotion or something like that. It's in the middle of the night, like, you know, there's some kind of gunfire outside, and then we all kind of like, you know, like after it's all settled, people kind of went out there to see what the heck was going on. It was a house that was just shot up, basically, like just bullets everywhere, grenades thrown at it and whatnot. And then,
Whoa.
yeah. And I don't know what the whole deal was there, but I think my parents eventually realized this, like, you know, like this war's coming. We have to basically kind of like leave. And I've always like, my parents don't really like to talk about this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think like Bosnian parents, they just like to kind of like forget about this or so forth. But I remember we were like on the move basically, because essentially it's like dangerous to be there and so forth. So we originally kind of like moved around a few different places. And eventually that's when we settled into that refugee camp itself. And again, I was still very young there. I have like all these photos with like me at the refugee camp. There would be like a photographer there that it would just kind of like take photos and then they would give them to you or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But like I said, I lived there for like several years, just being in a refugee camp itself.
Oh, and, wow. You were there for years.
Yeah. A couple of years.
Like in that small room, living in that small room you described?
Imagine like living like 3 years in like a room like this big with like multiple people itself.
Can you remember what your experience was like during that time? Were you playing with kids? What
I was playing with
like?
kids. It was like, you know, we had like a food hall basically that, you know, would go eat there basically. They're just like a little tiny mini like a houses itself. And I don't know exactly what my parents were doing, but I remember needing to go. They had like a little school there for as well. So the kids would go to like school during this as well. It was kind of like a place where you essentially are, you know, you're there until you kind of like the war is either over, you can go back home, or they can relocate you to somewhere where it's kind of like a, because each country, they accept different amount of like refugees, you know, once that quota hits, then they're like, we're done here basically. You know what I mean? So if you don't get in that batch itself, then you're just kind of stuck. I've talked to some people that were like refugees. They've been like stuck a refugee for like 20 years. So you imagine like your life, like just being in a refugee camp itself, you know, until you find like some place that will like accept you or so forth. But I remember it's pretty good. I remember like there's like this one story because like when you're living in a refugee camp, like you don't have like, you know, your own kitchen or anything like that. As a kid, you know, like you're kind of growing up with this. You just have kind of like go to like a food hall or so forth, you know. I remember when we first came to Twin Falls, I always like try to tell this ketchup story, which is basically like we came here, you know, and we were like, they put you up into like a house. They put like a family of 4 into like, it was like a 1-bedroom kind of place. It was still pretty big, you know, it's kind of like the size of like this, but it was just kind of like little vertical and stuff. We were very happy to just be out of like the refugee camp itself. But I remember like, there was like a little fridge and they put up some like food in there to kind of just get you started or so forth. And I remember like, you know, like we came there, we're like, they're just gonna like let us be here. This is freaking amazing, you know? Like this is so cool. So anytime you see like these refugees or so forth, they're just so happy to be here. They're just like, cause like their circumstances are changing and now they're like in a better situation itself. I remember when I was like a little kid here and I came in again, like I'm like going like 4th grade or so forth. You know, I opened up like the refrigerator and there's some food in there. We're like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then I remember like a ketchup bottle. I'm like, we got our own ketchup bottle. Look at this. You know, I was like parading this ketchup bottle to everybody. Like, look at this. This is so amazing. Ketchup bottle. But like now you think about a ketchup bottle, it's like nothing, you know, to you. But like for refugees, it's like, especially for like kids or so forth, like seeing a ketchup bottle, like your own ketchup bottle, it's like a whole different thing. But the problem is, like, you kind of get accustomed to the American life itself. So what happens is a lot of like refugees, like, I remember like I don't know, a couple of years ago, I went to like this, like to these refugees and so forth, and they're like the happiest people you will ever meet in your life itself. They're like, wow, I was like, I wish I could be this happy itself, you know? But what ends up happening is like almost kind of like entropy, you know, like with how like water kind of like settles and so forth. They kind of get integrated into the system itself. And then you can almost kind of see like after a certain amount of time, the entropy, they just kind of get absorbed into like what the US is or so forth. Complacency and like, you're no longer see. I want to go back to being happy about this damn ketchup bottle. You know what I mean? I want to be that happy.
Just go starve out in the woods for a while, come back,
ketchup
everything.
Bottle. Yeah, like yeah. There's this one guy, he's the guy that did that song. I took a pill and the bees. You know the guy I'm talking about?
I know the song. Yeah.
Well, this guy like changed his whole life around. He first walked across America. Mike Posner. Yeah. He had some. You should watch one of his podcasts. He did this whole across America. He got bit by a snake or something like that. I don't know if you saw that. I was like, he was like a famous person, but he's like, one day he's like, I'm just going to walk across the whole US. And then he climbed Mount Everest too. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, he summited?
He summited Mount Everest.
Rich ass.
And then he also said something.
It's like $40,000 to get a permit to do that.
Well, you were there. You were over there like viewing it. You're like,
I was watching all the rich people go up the mountain.
You're like, I gotta get close to this mountain itself. You were there. But he also had this one thing which was very fascinating, which was basically he would like pay, because he's got money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be isolated. Like he goes to like a place, like a monk, like a monk building or monastery of some sort in the middle of nowhere, and then he just is there for like months, like 3 or 4 months or something like that, with nobody around.
There was nobody.
It's only him, and then his thoughts basically, and then people will like leave like food, you know, like maybe like a mile away or something like that. So you got to go pick it up. So that way you never see anybody for like 4 months.
Self-induced solitary confinement.
Exactly. But what he said, which was fascinating, is like I saw this, I was like, man, I got to get on an island. I want to try this out. He basically said something like about like, if you do this, like, it's like, because you always have like this person in your head that's talking and so forth, kind of like running a narrative or so forth. It's basically that voice disappears completely. And I was like, and then he said like, you eating a sandwich is like having an orgasm. That's what happens. I was like, no fucking way. You know? This kind of makes you want to go like, maybe I should go out there for like, just kind of see like, if does that actually kind of make any kind of like, you know, like you just imagine like what just the best delicious.
He might have just been losing his mind.
Maybe he could have.
I don't hear the voices anymore.
This is delicious. But it would be interesting to just kind of see what would happen. You know what I mean? If that, if you actually imagine like getting rid of social media as well too, and you have no connection to the world or anything like that. It's just you and your thoughts, and you're just there meditating or something like that. Would you be interested in something like that? Just isolating yourself for like 4 months and then just see what happens. And you can't have no books, no social media, nothing. You have to basically take 4 months, and then
Once upon a time, I would have, but at this point, I feel like I've learned the value of having love and connection in your life and how special it is.
Yeah.
So I probably wouldn't do it anymore.
You're like, not now.
People take it that to the next level and do dark retreats. Have you ever heard of that? Where they go into solitude, but they go into dark cabins with bandanas on, and they don't see sunlight, any light or people for a week or so.
Oh my God. Don't you go blind if you do that?
No, then they slowly peek your eyes out at the end, and they let you look at the light at the bottom and slowly take it off. And every time you see those reactions when they get out, they just think the world's so beautiful. Like, oh my gosh. Well, you appreciate everything so much. You appreciate everything
because you haven't seen it. They have that float magic. Have you ever done that?
The sensory deprivation tanks.
Yeah, Joe Rogan like basically loves that. He was like saying like, I have my own separate like a tank or something like that. At one time I was like, I gotta get one of these tanks. You know, I was like looking up like how much is
Have you done it?
Yeah, I've done it, but it didn't.
Did
really,
you meditate?
It didn't really do anything for me. It felt like I was like in space.
Yeah. Oh, that's always a common thing. You just start feeling like you're in space. I don't know. Like you see like stars or something.
Yeah, you feel like you're in space, and then once in a while you like hit the side of the freaking.
You just float off to the side. Yeah,
and then you hit your. What the hell was that? It's like, but. I always kind of wanted to see if that kind of had any kind of effect. Maybe kind of gives you some ideas or like clarity or something like that or so forth.
I always use the sense. So when I was living in Portland, I had a sensory deprivation membership.
Oh, really? You had one and you would go?
It was a membership. So I would go and just whenever I wanted to.
Did anything happen is what I want to know is like, what would you see? Like I saw this video about Rhett and Link. They go in there. They are the ones that convinced me to go try this out. It's like, they go in there. They're like, this was amazing. And I was like, I got to go try this out. I don't care.
I think it's a booster for meditation. Are those starting to hurt your ears?
No, I just needed to kind of reposition them or something like that. Get a little
fresh air in there.
Yeah, get a little bit like let some air in there.
Yeah, I need to get some nicer headphones. I need those like nice little flap ones or something. And I need those podcast mics. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
These are like singer mics.
Like, yeah.
But so I would go there. I think the sensory deprivation tank enhances. It can take your meditation practice to the next level without because meditation.
Would you see anything like? Did anything kind of like
visuals
come up, and would you be like hallucinating in there or something like that?
I would experiment, dude. I would go do it on a bunch of THC edibles.
Oh my gosh!
I would go do it on psilocybin.
Oh my god, that seems scary to go do that in there.
I would be scared sometimes.
You would be transported into a whole new freaking dimension, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's already like if you're just like floating in there, it's like relaxing. You feel like you're in space. It's like there's this movie that like this person gets dropped through this thing and then they look like they just fell through, but they actually went into another dimension and then they fell through or something.
Kind of like Interstellar at the end.
Yeah. I think that's what it's called. It's like, isn't it?
When he goes to the black hole in Interstellar and he's flying through.
Yeah.
That's what it's like to do DMT.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just like
I've done DMT in the sensory deprivation as well.
My God, you're crazy, man.
I was like, I want to. People saying they talk to God. Let me have a conversation.
Yeah, no, that sounds crazy. That's bonkers. Like I would. I feel like you almost kind of like. But he was saying that you don't even need anything. It just basically happens.
Who said?
Joe Rogan itself. That
Joe Rogan, whatever, dude. No, he's doing breathing techniques in there too. He's the 30 in, 30 out box work breathing, where you breathe out for 30 seconds, breathe in for 30 seconds, breathe out. That breathing can get crazy hallucin. Have you ever done Wim Hof breathing?
Oh, I've seen that. I was just going to tell you about that. Like I saw he does some crazy breathing and like you've
never done it?
No, I've never done that. It's
you want me to teach you how to do it?
No.
Dude, maybe after this podcast, you should try one.
Yeah, just like I'm like all hallucinating.
You trip a little bit. Your fucking hands go numb. Your face can go numb.
Yeah, I feel like you just get too much oxygen in there and your brain is probably kind of like, I don't like, I'm more of like, I like to be in control.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the lesson though. That's where the lesson comes from.
The lesson is letting go of control. Letting
go of the tiger tail, dude.
Yeah, I never let go of the tiger. I'm always
no. I want to hold on.
I'm holding on to the tiger like at all costs. The tiger is like coming at me at every freaking way. I'm holding on to the tiger itself.
That's what I think the ego death that people talk about from psychedelics. I think it's the letting go aspect because you lose control. I don't want to go, but you're going.
Yeah.
And it's too late. You can't stop the ride anymore.
Yeah, it's probably kind of like when you die, you have to kind of like let go of the tiger.
Well, when you die, also you have DMT trip.
Yeah,
your pineal gland.
Yeah, you're pretty much you're just experiencing some kind of like hula, like a trip or something. So
it makes me wonder if it's a bridge. The chemical bridge to the next dimension.
Where are you going?
To the higher dimension.
Yeah, where are you going? I don't know.
Because one time I tried to force me. I first started doing DMT with my Muay Thai buddy from 10th Planet. And we'd go after we trained jiu-jitsu and stuff. We'd go to his house, and because in Portland it was like everything was decriminalized. You get everything.
Dude, I've been over there. It's like freaking nuts. They're in California, dude. Like I was in California. Holy shit. People were like shitting on the streets. We were seeing pissing and shitting, stepping on poop. I was like, oh my God, it's getting nuts here. I was like, I didn't feel safe. I was like, I got to get out of here. We were like, we got to go.
I was living in a van in downtown Portland during
I saw some of your like Instagram reels. You were very concerned somebody was going to like come after your car or something like that. And
then I had a fucking knife wheeled my way out of situations sometimes.
Yeah, we should just be all happy that we live in Twin Falls, and like you kind of come here and like, oh my god, it's so much freaking better. It's like we should always, it's almost gonna confine this place. You know what I mean? Like a lot of my audience is like, don't tell anything about Idaho or so forth. You know,
the problem I saw in Portland is I can tell that a lot of the people have the actions are based off of good intentions, but they overlook the reality that people follow incentives. And when you're incentivized to be homeless because you get taken care of to be homeless, no one can bother you. You can go into the school campus and sleep on the couches and shit in our school, bathrooms and shoot up in there. No one's going to bother you because they made it so you couldn't even bother homeless people anymore. It was what do they call it? It was like, you were like antagonizing them if a cop tried to tell a homeless person to beat it or something. And they were just getting crazy, dude. They were, when I was in there, but towards the end of the year, I left when COVID hit. Yeah. But by then it was crazy.
You were actually calling out COVID before COVID even happened. I remember you're like,
you remember?
Yeah, I remember. I was like, you're like, I cannot stand. I don't know. You're like, I have to say something about this COVID thing. This was before COVID even hit, and I was literally getting my first COVID news from you. You know what I mean? Like,
I was pretty on top of it.
You were on top of that shit.
I saw it when it happened in China.
Oh, really?
I was like, and I was like following the CDC about it. And I was like, it's in China. There's a new virus in China.
You were my source. You were my source, dude. Like I was like, what are you talking about? Like they're not gonna shut down shit here. And then surely, like this gets shut down. Then I'm like, I even told my boss, I was like, listen, I don't know what the hell's going on, but this is gonna blow over in a week. You know, like, and
I had everybody messaging me that too. Everybody was telling me, I was like, what are you talking? Like people were telling me that I'm just like on bullshit.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't like trying to promote beer. I was like, oh, look at somebody in Seattle caught COVID, that Chinese virus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's going to spread around here. And then one person had it in Portland. I was like, great. Now it's in Portland. Now we're all going to get it.
Yeah. I was literally watching it through your stories, through your Instagram. You were like my source, dude. I was like,
Ground zero, dude.
I'm like, Jason knew. Jason fucking knew.
The
like
hobos were telling me, dude. They're like, you hear about what happened in China? I got a Chinese homeless friend.
But yeah, the homeless kind of situation is kind of getting out of control itself, and they don't have a solution to fix it itself. It's a mental health problem, and I've also seen where these like people, they don't want the help. Like they don't want the help, which is like makes the situation even worse. It's like, imagine if I like told you like, listen, I can get you out of this like problem that you're currently at, and you just have to do this. And it's like the drugs are more important. It's like they have a lot
of broken people.
Yeah, it's like how do you try to fix them? You can't.
Dude, I've picked up like maybe 7 or 8 hitchhikers in my life and like giving them rides. Yeah.
You're crazy.
But I always got a gun right in my door.
Yeah, you're like, I got my gun with me.
Yeah. Like, it makes me feel a little more safe. Like you try something, you're gonna die.
You're not. Yeah.
Let's be nice. Everything's gonna be good.
You're crazy. I can't believe you're actually. I've picked up somewhat hikers, but these were just like these weren't hitchhikers. They're people that just like they hiked down to a mountain and they're like, we need to get back up. Like
hobos on the road.
No, this is just me like picking up some random people, helping them go back up the mountain or something like that.
The thing you got to be cautious of with hobos, you got to realize how much they stink. They stink like shit. So one time my Marine buddy came and visited me in Portland. We're partying, and I'm just such a fucking nice guy to fucking hobos for some reason. And I told this guy who was outside, and he was like, I was like, dude, you want to take a shower? You can come into our hotel room, take a shower. God, yeah. My friend was pissed. He's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
I let this guy come into our room, take a shower, and he used our towels. When he left, those towels were covered in goop and disgusting. Dirt. He left them there. They were sloppy, dude. It was disgusting. But while we're there, we're talking to him. I'm like, dude, what the fuck happened, dude? Why are you homeless and stuff? He's like, oh, I raped a girl. And I was like...
And you just invited this person. Yeah, you just invited this person. Yeah.
And dude, we were like talking. I was like trying to find the humanity in him. I'm a little bit drunk too. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what happened? How old were you? What'd you do? And he's like, no, he's like, yeah, I just straight up raped her. Like I saw this girl and I wanted to have sex with her. And she like left the party. I followed her and I just raped her. I was like,
so that basically just kind of tells you that there are bad people. Basically, there's good people and there's bad people,
and that's the thing, dude. Everybody want to look at every homeless person as if they're, oh my god, it's a little puppy.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're really not. Well, some of them are.
Some people have, most of them.
A lot of them, they don't want help. I've seen that they don't want help, which is mind-boggling because
it's like a lifestyle, dude.
Yeah, it's like a lifestyle, like you said. It's crazy. I tried to help some homeless people here in Twin. I found them in a shipping container that they were living in Rock Creek.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I make like this video saying, look at these people. I'm like the poor, like, look at these people, And these people were like high and drunk on something. There's a video still about it, And I'm like, I'll set up like a GoFundMe for you, try to get you some money or something like that. I post it, obviously gets views and so forth, Turns out this police looking for this guy.
Warrant?
Yeah, they're looking. He's got a warrant out there, so they're like, the police is like, wait, great, let's go pick him up, and we know exactly where he is based off Arnel's like video.
Good job, Arnel.
Yeah, so they go pick up this person. The person goes to like a jail or something like that. Afterwards, they like let him go afterwards or so forth. But then I had like another chance to like talk to these people at this like a RV thing. And I was like, just trying to figure out their like story and so forth. And I started realizing like these people don't want my help. They just want to get out of freaking Twin Falls and go to Vegas. That was their whole mission. Is like they just wanted to get the heck out of Twin Falls and go to Vegas. And I'm like, what am I trying to do? Help in this situation itself? I can't help this. It's like a mental
barrier
issue itself that these people are having, and it's like I'm just a nobody that cannot really help solve this problem itself.
Bring a horse to water, you can't get him to drink though.
Yeah, exactly. So I've even, oh my god, I remember one time I went to this in Boise. I was living in Boise, and then like there's like this thing that says like we're gonna go help the homeless or something like that. Like they're gonna do a march. Right?
The homeless people were doing a march?
No. Like these regular...
A march for the homeless.
Yeah, march for the homeless, right?
So where was this?
In Boise.
Oh, what?
Yeah, because there's like this alley area where they've got so many homeless people there. And I was like, I'm like, so we're going to walk through there, like for the homeless, And I'm like, well, this is going to be... Like, the news shows up just at the beginning of the parade, and then they just bounce. They're like, they're not interested in like seeing it. They just want to get the shots and they're like, bye-bye, But I'm like, I'm going to go do this whole march with them and record the whole entire thing, And I'm going along, and we're going through all these, there's so many freaking homeless people. Like it's crazy. Then, this one lady is like, oh my God, somebody cares about us. This person's like, somebody cares about us. Oh my God, it fucking hit me like right here, Because she was like, somebody cares about us. And then it like, it almost made me like very emotional, right? Then she like decides to join like the parade or so forth that's kind of like doing this or so forth. Anyways, the parade concludes, and then I'm like, I've already like built up some rapport with like somebody else there or so forth. And they're like, well, let's go take this person to like a dinner or something like that. I'll pay for that and so forth. We take him there. This is when I realize again, they're not interested in, they're not interested in the help. They're not interested in the help.
What happened?
They don't want the help. They just wanted to get alcohol and, and like, and I was like, you don't really want the help then. You're just looking for, like keep the party going or like the alcohol. And it's like a mindset itself. This person then just like a few months later, this person that like we went with or so forth, they kind of like felt me like this person committed suicide.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just basically just like killed himself. And then that was the end of that person's like life itself. So it's like, I cannot help, and I cannot get other people to go ahead and get them to initiate this unless people want to help themselves, basically what it kind of comes down to. So every time I try to like help the homeless or something like that, it always does not like work out any good itself. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know what you want me to do kind of deal. Like,
yeah, dude, if I was homeless, I'd be at the thrift store going, can someone buy me some nice clothes? Give me money, buy me some nice clothes. I'm trying to get a job.
Yeah.
Buy me some nice clothes. If you're hungry, go stand in front of a Burger King. Could you please just buy me nuggets?
Yeah.
But that's not how homeless people are out there.
They're more interested.
Give me some money.
Give me some money.
Let me get some drugs.
Drugs and alcohol itself. And until their mindset changes about that itself, where they want to try to help themselves, they're always going to be like on this different. Some of them purposely stay dirty and like filthy and so forth because
it's better for getting money.
For getting money, which is like, it's like you can wash yourself. There's a lot of places where you can wash yourself, but it's like it's like an image that they put on so that they can get more like which is bonkers. You know what I mean? It's like I saw that and I was like, oh my God. It's like it's just the circumstances that they're in, and then like I don't know what the solution is. I certainly don't know. There is no solution. They've spent
the only solution is a
dollars.
dystopia where everyone's equal. We all have a house. No one has more. No one has less.
Well, even with that, they don't probably want it. Like, I don't think...
Well, if it's given to you, then who wouldn't want it?
I think they would just like leave the house.
People would just own a house and...
They would try to get probably people
give
to
me a
give them
place to live for free. I'll be there. I'm sure they're all like that.
You know, that one president guy was aiming for this. What's his name? The guy that was like wanting to get everybody like $2,000 a month or something like that. Andrew Yang guy. Or something like that.
Yeah, Yang.
I was like, oh, this sounds like a freaking brilliant idea. You know what everybody in Idaho was like? No.
It's because of the incentives. People follow incentives so much that if you don't provide an incentive to benefit the people who work hard, people will stop working hard.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so then it's like there is no motivation to go ahead and do anything. What's funny is I was like, everybody that like saw that particular video, like, no, I want to work hard for my money, even if I'm not even getting that much. So I was like, I couldn't compute this. I was like, you're telling me you'd rather work at like a minimum wage job, doing grunt work or whatever, than receive like $2,000 a month for doing absolutely nothing itself. And they were like, yes. And then
that's
I was like,
I mean, why? That's kind of weird to say.
I was like, that's the general consensus of it. And I was like, I don't know. Then I'm like, then I just kind of like, I think I'm just kind of shifting towards like, I'm not going to try to help anybody. I'm just going to be trying to help myself.
I think that person that says that, they're completely full of shit. They say that. But then I bet you they'd be great. They'd be happy as hell if they won the lottery.
But it's like
if they won the Powerball, they'd be like, I don't have to work. I don't have to do shit anymore.
Their ego is basically saying that itself. Yeah. It's like,
it's probably an ideology. They know if they say the other one, then it'll benefit the homeless dude who's going to do nothing. Yeah. But the best way to put this scenario, I feel like, is like if you just look at a classroom and told everyone, don't worry, guys. Whether you study or whether you fail, no one will fail. The minimum grade we'll give is a C.
Now.
Yeah, we'll give you a C minimum, and no one will fail.
So they've changed that educational system back to that now. So they changed. Right. Yeah, they changed it.
So who will study? I'm like, okay, I'll just sit here and learn nothing and pass.
So basically, they've changed the educational system so that way, basically,
who's they?
The government,
like our government, Idaho
government itself.
Oh, really? Idaho, it's Idaho state thing.
Yeah, like it depends on state by state itself how they kind of like put these rules. Like so, like I think right now in Idaho, like they don't want to look at the grades you're getting or so forth. They just want to have everybody just pass and then say that they completed high school or whatever. They don't want to like actually put some tests that actually says you actually know the knowledge information. Yeah. But again, I don't think the information that they're actually giving to them, it's like they should be teaching them about how to do taxes, how to start a business, how to do like, like real world stuff that kind of interests them.
Independent work versus being relying on someone else who actually broke off the path and created a business.
If the educational system was more like where they're like, we're eager towards actually teaching people or so forth, something that they can actually utilize or so forth, and it helps their future, then it's kind of better and so forth.
But I gotta argue, I feel like it's kind of always been like that. Well, at least since my era in I graduated 2012. But the reason I say that, and this is super controversial, but I believe it. I believe it. Because there's a bunch of special needs kids in my grade who got a high school diploma who I don't even know if they can read, honestly. Yeah. I'm like, everyone puts the high school diploma. Oh, I graduated. I got my high school diploma. But like, honestly, anyone kind of can get one.
We've changed that. We changed it to like, we have to prove that you can actually know this information, but now it's like, we're going back to everybody gets it.
Yeah. So what does it even mean anymore?
It basically means we just get a dumber workforce. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's all that really kind of means. And it's like,
but even those special needs kids, are they going to be on the workforce? Because some of them I knew they were not like, they will
find
to be in
they'll find a
like
job
that.
where they'll kind of like learn a particular task. It might be just like stamping something, a assembly line itself. But as long as they have the diploma itself, that's all that matters.
So I was in a jackpot playing blackjack, and this new dealer, he came up and he fucked up, dude. He like dropped the cards. He flipped his card over. So the dealer was showing both of his cards, and he's like, oh. And he had to like get his management, and he's like, "Oh, this is the 5th time I've screwed up this week."
Oh man!
And the guy's like, "Yo," the managers looked pissed, like they were annoyed with this guy. And when the managers walked away, I was like, "Hey, man, word of advice: don't remind your bosses how many times you've screwed up."
Yeah.
And he's like, "It doesn't matter. They can't fire me. I have a disability."
Oh, and I was like, "Oh yeah,
dude." He had total dirtbag vibes the way he said it, though.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's again, it's like this whole I don't know. This whole society is like, I don't know, like it's taking a turn. I'm not too big of a fan. I don't know where it's going to be. Like, imagine like 10 years from now, how things are going to be. You know what I mean? It's a little bit wild.
Yeah, there's more entitlement and less work ethic.
Yeah, it's like...
But it's good for people like us who got work ethic.
Yeah.
We stomp those fuckers in the ground and climb where we want to go.
We're going on this. I don't care, Yeah. So it's like, I'm going on this path. You cannot stop me, basically.
I mean, it's a good thing there's a lot more consumers of content than creators.
Yeah. Like, you would think there would be so many creators even around here or so forth, but there just is not. Like, it's like a rare kind of find to find, like, people like you or, other people that's going to do this kind of stuff. So I just wish more people were like, like doing stuff. Really is what I'm kind of always aiming for.
So what are you aiming to do next?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to just tell the universe I won like $1 million, and expect it in the front door, basically, But no, really just kind of like doing... I think I set like some goals, like I'll get to like 50,000 and 100,000, work with like a bunch of like brands and businesses to try to basically kind of make more money through that. That's what I'm currently just kind of doing, is like just hitting up businesses and things like that, doing like little offside things. But ideally, I'd like to just be like having a platform pay me to be the content creator. And then where essentially I'm just making the content that I want.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of like the ideal, because then that way you don't have anybody kind of like saying, because like, what's the best part is when you're making content, it's like having somebody not tell you how they want it.
But if you need someone to pay you, then someone's going to be in charge of you, because they are in charge of your paycheck. So maybe if you get money directly from your audience instead somehow.
That's true. A lot of people,
you're free.
That's a lot of people do that with like Patreon or something like that, or they'll try to get their audience to be monetized to kind of dive into that.
That seems so hard though. I've never Patreoned anybody in my life.
I know. It's like, I don't like asking people for like money. You know what I mean? It's like, it goes back into that idea. I'm like, I'm creating this content for me because it makes me laugh or so forth. How can I ask for people to go ahead and pay for this itself?
Well, I see when I feel like maybe a route that you could make money on, just brainstorming ideas, because we're always making content. I always think, well, how are we going to make money? How are we going to make money?
We need a lot of money.
We need to live. Yeah. And maybe I think the way I see like meme pages, because I kind of relate your account, just storytelling, but like it's honestly, you're kind of a bit of a history genre too. Local history.
I do a little local history. I'll figure out, I'll get some content from like books and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, nobody knows this. Yeah. So I'll make a little story about it.
But like you do a lot of memes too, though.
I do a lot of memes.
Like the Wendy's and Burger King and the King, that story.
I do all kinds of like whatever kind of pops in my head itself. I'll just kind of like, it's that's why it's so sporadic on there, is because whenever I get like inspiration on something, I don't want to be confined in an idea where it's kind of like, this is one thing you're going to be like doing for the rest of your life. Like, I think a lot of people think that I'm just going to be making like travel content for the rest of my life. No, I want to be able to do whatever I want. If I want to do like a documentary one day, go for it. You know, if I want to do like a funny meme, go for it. If I want to do like a movie review, go for it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be pigeonholed by one thing.
I think that's awesome. What do you think though do you feel like if you don't hone in on one specific thing that you won't have a specialization of skill?
A lot of people say you have to niche down. Like you
but
have
not even
to,
niche, like medium, mastered medium.
You have to have kind of like a mastered medium itself. But it's like, what's Casey Neistat's like niche?
Vlog. I mean, like by medium wise, he's a vlog. He's a vlogger. You can tell. You can do vlogs super well.
Yeah, but like, what's his like niched down thing? He doesn't really have one.
Him. He is his brand. It's who he is.
So basically, I want to be like, this is like a representation of me. I just like smack this, you know.
So because I was thinking, because you don't really show your face much anymore.
No,
it's
I used
just
to.
like AI art.
It's just a lot of AI. Sometimes I'll get some B-roll footage of me kind of like doing stuff like that.
You've been doing your voice though. You've been adding your voice into your content lately, I think, right?
Well, I was experimenting with AI cloning my voice.
That's what that was?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was like, dude, Arnel's using his voice now.
No,
because you were using that fucking dude robot for a long time, which is very catchy and popular.
Everybody loves that.
Everybody was using that thing.
Dude, like soon, like by the end of 2024, you will not be able to tell the difference between my real voice and a voice that you hear on Instagram or so forth. It'll just be by the end of 2024 until they perfect that technology. Like your mom or dad might know like, oh, that's not him or so forth, but the majority of people will not know your voice itself. So then it becomes like, well, is your brand your voice then? No, it's your ideas and the content that you push out itself. It doesn't matter what the voice is. It's voice is going to be cloned and nobody's going to be able to tell the difference between when you're actually talking or so forth. This is why I said, if you see anything on the internet about me that I said something or so forth, do not believe it, because I'm already experimenting with AI. And it's believable to a point where people cannot tell the difference that I didn't say that.
Like the sheriff one?
Yeah, well, that's
you're like, the sheriff could have said this, and then the sheriff just rambles on.
Yeah, so I basically put like a sheriff talking, like, well, I'm like, I wish the sheriff could go ahead and a lot of people are like, well, that's cool. I can't believe he said that, but he didn't really say that. It blows my mind how much people, and sometimes the AI doesn't pronounce things correctly, and then they're like, that's not how you say like Shoshone Falls.
Oh yeah,
I can't get it to say it correctly because it's saying it like this. You know?
You gotta type it different.
You gotta type it in different with like a different variation, total misspell or so forth. So a lot of people don't even understand that it's like AI talking. So it's like, what? It's like, it's just like, I don't know what it is. It's like people like don't get it, I guess. Sometimes people don't get my humor as well too. They don't know I'm like just making a joke. So I'm like, oh, you know what would be funny if Donald Trump said this or Andrew Tate said this, you know what I mean? And then they're just like, just do it, right? And I'm like, this is so funny to me, you know? But people like, I cannot believe you use Trump or Andrew Tate on this.
Did you get comments on that?
Oh my God, people are like outraged that I'm like that I'm even associated with any of these people. Like, oh, I'm unsubscribing. Go.
How do you feel when you see like negative comments? How does it impact you?
I don't really. I love, because like most of the time I try to stay out of the comments itself, because like it's best to just stay out of comments itself. You don't want to be in there. Just let them talk however they want. Sometimes I'll jump in if I really kind of care about something, and I'll just reply to comments or so forth. But yeah, the crazy comments that you kind of see, they're just bonkers, and you're just gonna see everybody's different perspective, you know? And again, I think people just don't realize, like, I don't care like that they're viewing this. It's the content is for me because it makes me laugh itself, you know? And how they perceive it, I don't really care, you know? It's like, it's your own like world view or so forth. If you hate this person or so forth, then you're going to hate whatever that person says, you know what I mean? So almost kind of like triggers people itself. I make like almost a lot of triggering things that like people don't like to like think about or so forth. And like nobody's willing to kind of say, you know? And then a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to follow this, you know? So I don't know. It's like a fine line that I'm dancing on, essentially. You know what I mean? You can't cross it too much on either side itself, you know? But I really just like the idea of that I'm able to go ahead and kind of create whatever I want, and I have nobody telling me no, basically, you know? Because like if you have that, then you can just create however you want, you know? So.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Fucking
going viral.
Constantly.
Viral. Dude, yeah. That's pretty awesome. I mean, you've always been going viral.
Yeah.
You've always been pretty good at nailing that in.
It's so weird because like when you go viral, it's the randomest shit you'll never expect. You know, you just come in and just knock it out like in like an hour or something like that, like an edit, and then you're like, who cares? Whatever, done. Viral, you know? I don't know. Have you ever had anything go viral itself like this?
I mean, the most I've received on a video is like 60,000 views.
Was it the Tacoma?
Yep.
Yeah,
Tacoma one, yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that video itself.
And then I got like, I think 20 or 30,000 on one of this Marine Corps song I made. That was like pretty much talking shit on the Marine Corps while I was in the Marine Corps.
Oh, really?
And I had to like go report to command. And like talk
they're like, what did you do here, Jason?
Yeah.
Like, why'd you say this?
They're like, we think it's a cry for help.
It's a cry for help. Like,
yeah, because I was all bitching about the way the Marine Corps is like changing into this pussy ass fucking corps.
It's like, yeah, you're like this. This is bullshit. Well, at least you have freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want itself. But that's what I like. I like saying whatever kind of pops in my head, and I don't want to be limited on what I can and cannot say because like somebody's gonna leave a comment. Oh no, blah blah blah. You know. I don't care. Sometimes I'll just like block people. I'm like, bye bye.
Oh, you blocking people?
Oh yeah, like I love blocking people. Like,
do you ever try to make your comments limited?
No, I never limited any kind of comments.
Good.
Like
I feel like that's a sign a bitch made when you want to do that.
I never turn off the comments or so forth. Some people like just get out of hand itself. And I'm just like, listen, I'm going to do you a favor by not showing up in your feed, you know, like, so it works out for you and me by you no longer seeing my shit itself, you know? So it's like, bye-bye, you know? And I never think about them ever again, you know what I mean? They're just gone forever. And then that's pretty much it. Am I getting a phone call or something?
Oh. Well, Arnel.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on my podcast, dude.
Yeah, man. I don't know if we've been recording this for the longest time. Like, how long is this podcast? This feels like a very long ass podcast.
Does it feel like that? You feel like it's been dragging for you?
Well, no, it's
you don't enjoy my conversation.
No, I really like this podcast. Typically, I always limited mine to just be like an hour or something like that. I feel like this one's probably like two and a half hours.
I have no idea.
I think this is a 2.5 hour podcast, man.
No way.
Yeah, like
see, for me, I feel like it's been an hour.
You know, but this is the best thing about these podcasts because, like, when do you get a chance to just kind of sit down like this and just like talk to me for like 2.5 hours about all kinds of random stuff like this?
Share ideas, dude.
Share ideas.
It's all about the ideas.
Yeah, like bouncing off this and that and so forth. I feel like you kind of get to know me a little bit more just by talking to me. And then the more people you do this with, then you just kind of like, I don't know, it's like you build a better rapport with everybody. Then when you see me in public, I know a little bit more about you and so forth. And it's just a good thing. So I think
good way to make friends.
Good way to make friends and good way to just kind of interact with people as well too, because people don't have this outlet. Like they only talk to their certain group. And then by having these podcasts, you're kind of like inviting them into like different groups and so forth.
Get to know you a little more.
Exactly. Yeah. I really like this. I mean, like it's been fun. So I love podcasting. Yeah.
Are you gonna start yours back up?
Oh, we'll see if I find a spot. Like I said, it'll be
do it
like
in your house, dude. Fuck it.
Just do it in the house.
Fuck it. Dude.
Yeah. It's just so much work. Like I said, I can just use AI to help me. With my
you're right.
Script.
You got
I have my AI is like my personal assistant that helps me craft stories, and it just basically makes me like elevates me or so forth. This I would just be thinking to myself like, oh my god, now I gotta like edit this. It's gonna be 3 hours, and I gotta cut this out. Oh my god, it's like
AI is gonna do it for me.
But
dude.
the thing is, you have so many good clips here now. Like. You need to take like the best, like this is what the only thing I wish that I kind of saw from yours was like more clips, man. Cause like like, I remember talking to my friend and he was basically saying, was like, I don't watch Joe Rogan podcasts. And I was like, interesting. He's like, I only watch the Joe Rogan clips. So people never watch the Joe Rogan podcast. They just watch the clips. And then, and this is what you should be doing. You just clips. If you make a bunch of clips of even all of the content that you've already created, but just like kind of like mass clipped it, this podcast would just be like, phew. But I don't know if that's what you're really kind of aiming for. I think you're really actually aiming for like good conversation and kind of like, figuring out the person, which is really, good.
I mean, this translates well for documentary interviewing as well. Learning how to get comfortable and pull some juice out of people.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming.
No problem, man.
Peace out, ladies and gents.
Bye-bye. Good.